Are you serious? All right, let me do that from the top. Hey, happy Saturday, y'all. I don't know why my OBS automatically mutes my mic. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Happy Saturday. I'm just peeking into you from the afternoon here where I am. I decided to go black and white today. We're going to review a couple of things today that are fun. Will AI ever be conscious? A guy who I really like making fun of named Brian Cox, who was a failed boy band participant. And now he's a science communicator. So we're going to look at his jive talking. The 5v1 over at my Modern Day Debate got released. So I'll watch that with y'all. Yeah, it's a little cringe watching myself. And then someone made a new Orthothugs mashup video, which we can actually start the day like that. This won't be an epic stream, a long stream, too long. Monday I have a really fun stream. We're gonna get into Unitarianism. I did a previous stream and I kind of like glazed over it. And now I want to get a little bit deeper into it because I'm running into Unitarians online. And usually they argue sort of Muslim-style anti-Trinitarianism. But the thing is, what Unitarians don't do, as you find them out there in the wild, is they don't actually argue for a positive ecclesiology, a positive tradition or praxis. You notice how a lot of it is very sort of proddy in the sense that it's oppositional to some authority. And so we're going to cover on Monday, we're going to get into a deep dive, and maybe there'll be some Unitarians who show up in the chat who want to jump on. But I'm discovering some of the massive kill shots against Unitarianism on X in my engagement with some of these people. Because they usually go to Scripture, right? They usually just kind of pull up Scripture and then try to interpret it like, yo, there's a second creation of the universe after Christ ascended. And then you're like, yeah, but let's take a more basic approach. Let's look at what you call Unitarianism today, and let's look at what you claim Unitarianism to exist at the time of Christ and what it looked like. And when you look into the church history, that's probably why they don't go to church history. Now, they'll go to church fathers. Someone like Metaphysics Mike will bring up quotations or takes from certain church fathers. And if they lean toward his view, he'll appeal to them. But it's really meaningless in the end, because if they're saying Unitarianism is true, which, by the way, they do say Christ started a Unitarian church. That's what they say. So, now that's a wild claim, because I'll get into it on Monday. Sorry. Prattling on. All right, let's start with this insanity, because someone made this, and I just think it's completely wild. From a conversation myself and hello listener Tony had, this was put together. This is where we're at. Did you ever go through a speaking in tongues phase?
No.
Can you try one for me?
Hey, it's a slimy salamander making a mud pie, a big bad boy making a walrus.
Big bad boy. I have a couple of sounds that always work. It's shatalabikioku. Shatalabikioku.
You just awakened an ancestor, dude.
Yeah.
Stop.
That works every time. Try it.
Shatalabikiyuku works
See?
every time.
See that?
They're like, I feel it.
Shatalabikioku.
I feel it. Shatalabikiyuku. They're like,
That works every time.
They're like, I feel it.
Shatalabikioku.
I feel it. Shatalabikiyuku. They're like,
That works every time. Yeah, sick. Yeah, that works every time.
They're like, I feel it.
Shasta la piki yoku.
I feel it. Shatalapiki Yuku. They're like,
That works every time.
they're like, I feel it.
Shasta la piki yoku.
I feel it. Shatalapiki Yuku. They're like,
That works every time. Shout out to Dr. Evo and Ozzy. They're quite the team, huh? How about that team? I knew something was going to eventually percolate, because Dr. Evo has been waiting in the darkness, in the shadows with his talent. Still producing for highly notable people, but I think it's that combination that was needed. That synthesis of Ozzy, AI Ozzy, and Evo himself. Excellence. Honestly, some of those clips it looked like when they cut over to Tony, like it didn't look AI to me. It looked like just a clip from one of his streams. You know what I mean? It's like I really didn't see a difference there. I just saw it. To me, it all looked the same. Didn't it? Shot to Labiki Yoku. Anyway, that's awesome. I like how they're just going for it, that team. Let's take some super chats here. Steelborn, $5. I beat Rob in a debate on verbal combat last night. On the prompt, a world without a creator would not diminish morality. Wait, he took the affirmative? A world without a creator? I mean, even the prompt is wild. Like you can't even justify a world without a creator. You can't even grant it. But that's interesting, Steelborn. Must have been fun. You're muted. Thank you. Muted. Thank you. That's how I get my first super chats, by the way. The Gator Gat was sick. Yeah, the Gator Gat was a W. So, anyway, let's move over to... Do you guys want to see my 5v1 first? Or... Yeah, let's do that. Let's just skim through it. I don't want to hear myself too much. You know what I mean? I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to see myself. Try to persuade a serial killer to stop what he's doing? You think a debate will stop that? Oh, yeah, this guy, he was all, no, we don't need force. We just use persuasion. What?
A conversation.
A conversation with a serial killer? Yeah, so I'm Jeffrey Dahmer eating brain custard. You sway me away.
Okay, first of all, you can put that down.
I
okay,
like
you can
these
put that
brains.
down.
If Aunt Mildred is on her deathbed and she signs a waiver that she allows her posthumous cadaver, to be diddled by a bunch of strangers, that's totally in line with your ethical view, because there's no harm, right?
That does cause harm.
What harm?
Well, generally speaking, human cadavers have a lot of bacteria and can harm the people.
No, this one's clean.
That's not how decomposition works. I'm sorry.
No, this one's pristine.
That's not how decomposition works.
SqueakyCleanCadavers.com.
That's not how that works.
Wow. Jim Bob won. I did. My first prompt is, should laws be informed by religion? I say yes. Not just any religion, but I think laws should be informed by my religion. I don't understand how you could counter this, given that all laws would be informed by some ethical stance. If you're a secularist, you do have an underlying How about that music? Ethical stance. I feel like that music, like if you panned out, you wouldn't be surprised I was on like a horse. Wish secularists would just admit that they want to impose their beliefs on others, because I do.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that you think that Christian ethics should be enforced.
Let me just say that this guy body mogged me immediately.
And is that as over?
Just dwarfed me. He didn't actually need to talk. He was just like, well, I'll sit here in contrast to you and I'll just pretend to have a conversation. When in reality, the conversation is already happening in everyone's head. The conversation goes like this. Jim Bob's getting body mogged.
Any other form of ethic?
Yeah, any competing ethic, I would say.
So it's
mine is the best.
Okay, so it's not just that that any set of ethics should be enforced, but you're saying Christian ethics are superior to all other forms.
Yeah, I'm saying my ethics I hold as superior insofar as informing law, and that any counter would also shaved his arms. Yeah, so double L. Have to assume theirs is superior.
Okay, so what if somebody were to say to you that the only really everything kind of just boils down to power? So if I'm coming from the standpoint that I don't believe that there are any objective goods, that everything ultimately really does reduce down to power, then I think that the best kind of, I think one, it's appropriate to enforce power, to use power to your advantage. But two, I think that anything that serves the accumulation.
Looks maxing and mogging is super gay. It is. It got really gay, really, I think it's just hijacking the part of masculinity that works on your body and your mind and and the way you're presented, and it kind of hijacks it, and then it makes it like about purely vanity. I think it's purposeful.
And the maintenance of that power structure, that would be the only good. So from my view, I wouldn't think that Christianity is necessarily the best unless it does redound to accumulating and holding power.
Okay, so if we accumulated the most effective power structure, you would concede and say, fair.
If you can get it and you can hold it and you can impose it, do it.
Based. Yeah. Yeah, so that's like my position. So he's just like, I agree with you.
So in principle, I agree with you that Christian ethics seem to demonstrably to form the societies that have been most successful. However, with the prompt, you say that religion should inform laws. That's a
hell yeah. He took the affirmative playing devil's advocate. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'm sure it's on his thing, right, Stillborn? I'll check it out.
Little more general, and you can see what's happening in some areas of even this country here. Take Dearborn, Michigan, where there's a lot of Muslim populations, and they have implemented some Muslim laws as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the risk that you run, I think.
Yeah, I think descriptively it's still the case. I could just change the prompt to religion will enforce law. So then it becomes, okay, well, if religion if some set of meta-ethical beliefs will inform law, it's just a competition of which ethical systems win, right? Which are better. Now that could be persuasive, that could be pure force. I like a combination of the two. What do you like?
Well, I think it does come down to force, ultimately, but it also can come down to some demographics, and the demographics are definitely shifting. And
yeah, exactly. Shata Labikioku.
I think that the Christian ethics has been very good at founding these societies, but there's also been a degradation that's been happening over time that is really put things down.
Yeah, the degradation is the movement away from Christianity. That's right. I agree with you. And the degradation, I would say, is downstream from a type of liberalism. Even someone who calls himself a Christian and holds a classical liberal view, they're going to help degrade a society. So I agree. But when you look at demographics, you're still talking about force. If we stop demographics from shifting, you can actually use force to do that. You could also use reproduction, so a combination of the two. Stop other cultures from coming. Is it my turn to be in the chat? Danny Philtalk, what's up, Danny? Over and populating. And Danny, you didn't answer my question that I wanted you to answer. Let me just move over to Danny real quick. He just debated someone on the existence of God. The other guy had a very weak, nebulous, theistic position, not a strong position. And Danny was taking, at least early on, a probabilistic position. And I told Danny there through a super chat that probability requires access to favorable outcomes and unfavorable outcomes. And when an atheist says, I just find God, a creator of the universe, to be less probable than not that, I ask Danny or anyone else who levies this argument, how do you have access to favorable and unfavorable outcomes in regards to God existing or not existing, or a universe with God or a universe not with God? What I'm saying is that you don't have any access to that. And that applies to the theist too. You can't really use probability ultimately to demonstrate God's existence. Because probability is in the naturalistic paradigm. You know, you have to have the world operating a certain way to do probability. So it's an argument that atheists shouldn't be really making, and theists or Christians should be pushing back immediately when this is stated. Now, when I asked you, how do you have access? You said the same way we have access to like a perpetrator. Well, no, you have access to a perpetrator. If you want to figure out the probability is someone killed someone else, you have to have access to the outcomes, which you do when you investigate a crime. You have a crime. You have a crime scene. You have details about the crime scene. You have the perpetrator that you're assigning potential culpability to. And so you have access to all these things. A better example would be, of course, a roulette table, where the reason you can do mathematical probability for roulette is you have full access to the numbers, and you have access to favorable numbers and unfavorable numbers. You don't have that with God. You don't have the favorable or unfavorable outcome. You could try to move over to like a hypothetical Bayesian view, but that's just imagining what you think probabilities could be. Taking over that way, and also do your part by impregnating your wife. I looked at Megan at that point.
I've got 3, so
there you go. Nice. Yeah, it's a big game to play. It's a long.
That.
No, Christianity.
Christianity should be a part of laws. Do you also include the Old Testament in that?
No, Christianity, the Old Testament laws is not something we're holding to.
Okay, fair enough. Just one clarification.
I mean, some of them. It's not abolish, but like that was just my softest, easiest answer.
And so then the 10 Commandments are out of the question as well.
No, you could. Perry, thank you so much for the $5. Best Tucky in town. Thank you so much. All of those, but we're not talking about legalism. Now, I have no problem with introducing the 10 Commandments generally, but when it comes down to policing, it's not like you police everything that's ever been recommended or
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like not every sin necessarily would be a legal
that's fair.
transgression.
But do you really need your religion to tell maybe you shouldn't kill people? Do you really need a book to tell you that?
Why shouldn't I kill someone?
Why do you, I don't...
Poor thing.
Taking a life is not a good thing, but why
that's what the claim is.
But
Tell
why
me
do you...
why?
Why do you need a book to tell you that?
You need something to tell you that, don't you? This is a common thing with atheists. Why? Oh, you need a book to tell you murder is wrong? That's literally assuming the thing that we're asking. Why is it? Now, we didn't ask if you think it is. That's usually what the atheist is really saying. They're saying, you need a book to have the experience that killing is wrong? Well, no, the experience that it's wrong or right is not what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to whether or not there's a worldview. If there's a worldview, a metaethical position, an epistemic position, is there anything holistically you can point to that can at least present a model for why X is wrong?
If I feel like taking someone else's life is not a good thing.
I know that's
morally,
a claim. Yeah, and then there's people who think the opposite.
Morally, but
I understand that's a claim, that's an assertion. When we ask, do you think it's bad to kill someone? That is a question. Why is a different question. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't think God is necessary to ground morality, insofar as saying murder is wrong or this type of killing is wrong, then what would you appeal to say it's wrong? Why? Danny says, I don't really understand what you're saying other than atheists can't hold axioms. Well, I don't grant you axioms. We're talking about methodology of probability. Like granting you the axioms required for probability, logic, regularity of nature, whatever else you're arguing, evaluations, like mind, like whatever you are going to grant yourself. Axioms is a ridiculous position, by the way. But regardless of axioms, Danny, probability requires an actual formula. So even if I granted you the axioms required to then be able to do probability, what I'm talking about, Danny, is you can't actually do the probability. You can't do it. It's a formula. Like doing probability is an activity. That's an activity. And the activity requires favorable outcomes and unfavorable outcomes. You have to be able to divide the two. It's a percentage. That's what it is. It's literally math. But you can't do probability of certain outcomes if you don't have the outcomes. You don't have the outcome, a world in which God doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying. So how is it you can develop probabilities without the numbers? Here, actually, let me actually show you something, Danny. I'm going to show you what I mean. This is a great clip. This is one of my favorite clips that I've ever seen. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm totally fine taking a break from myself. In fact, I almost don't even want to watch it. Richard Dawkins and... Okay, watch. Here's what I mean. This is exactly what I mean right here, Danny. Watch. Your favorite guy here.
You. I'm Ben Stein. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You have written that God is a psychotic delinquent invented by mad, deluded people.
No, I didn't say quite that. I said something rather better than that.
Oh, well, please tell us what you said. Please tell us what you said.
Well, I would have to read it from the book.
No, please.
The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction.
Things that are unpleasant must not necessarily be true. If it's unpleasant and I don't like it, it's probably not a good thing.
Jealous and proud of it. A petty,
What's wrong with jealousy, dude?
unjust, unforgiving control freak.
Poo-poo.
A vindictive,
Poo-poo.
bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser. A misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal,
This isn't relevant. I just like watching it.
sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully.
So that's what you think of God.
Batty.
How about if people believed in a God of infinite lovingness and kindness and forgiveness and generosity, sort of like the modern day God? Why spoil it for them? Why not just let them...
Darth adds a comment for $10 that's important here. There is simply no such thing as formulas in chemically induced worldview. Yeah, you don't have a probabilistic formula for matter producing immaterial things like knowledge.
have their fun and enjoy it.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I write a book. People can read it if they want to. I believe that it is a liberating thing.
You believe it's liberating.
Release.
Can seem 7%.
No, I did. You asked me to put it.
Okay, watch.
How do you know it's 99?
Watch.
Willing to put a number
This is exactly what I'm talking about, Danny. Watch.
on it.
Well,
Exist. Professor Dawkins seemed so convinced that God doesn't exist that I wondered if he would be willing to put a number on it.
well, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I mean, I put it as something like 99% against or something.
Well, how do you know it's 99%
I
against,
don't.
say, and not 97%?
No, I did. You asked me to put a figure on it, and I'm not comfortable putting a figure on it. I think I just think it's very unlikely.
What? But you couldn't put a number on it.
No, of course not.
So it could be 49%.
Well, it would be. I mean, I think it's unlikely, but it's quite far from 50%.
The guy is a complete nonsense machine.
How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I put an argument in the book.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
See what I'm saying? It's like you can't do this. You can't say, God seems very unlikely. And you go, is that a mathematical distinction? Oh, of course. How do you come to mathematical distinctions? They usually don't know. Honestly, when I catch atheists on this commonly, they like to just spew out probability and likelihood. And I go, how is likelihood determined? mathematically. Like there's a rigidity. Like for instance, you go to a math class and you ask, how is probability determined? And the reason Dildo Dawkins there has no answer is because he doesn't have access. There's no access to the favorable, unfavorable outcomes. That's why. That's why he's left stranded. Liberated into nihilism. Yeah, I'll liberate myself. I want to liberate myself into a world of pluralistic chaos where there's no unifying principles. I like that. I quite like that. I like a world of pluralistic nihilism where nothing is actually cohesively attached to anything. Shaw, $10. Isn't faith in any regularity in nature a pure contradiction from the atheist view? Yes. Like, what would you even appeal to promise that your nature will stay regular? Yeah, and by the way, Shaw, that needs to be the case in order to assume you have a mind that's also, to some extent, in its nature unchanging. It's not changing into not a mind. And then you have evaluation. So all of the induction that they're doing, Chaw, is built upon faith in a whole slew of things. Now, like Danny, the cop-out is you just call those things axioms. Well, sorry. If you just say axioms, then the Christian can say, I have an axiom that God exists. And then you get into a debate whether or not you needed an extra axiom. But then determining whether you need another axiom, usually the argument is parsimony. You have to ask the atheist, why should we be more parsimonious? Why? They don't have an answer for this. They usually go to like some sort of like Occam's razor. Oh, well, you don't need any additional. Why add any additional things? Well, who determines whether or not it's, extra or it's necessary? I say the argument for God to ground the transcendentals, the things that Danny and company call axioms. By the way, you need to assume transcendentals before you formulate an axiom or arrive at an axiom. So that's the thing. It's like, oh, you came to an axiom? Well, you used a bunch of things to come to that axiom, and they're like, those are also axioms. It's like, no. That's not how epistemology works. You don't get to just introduce an axiom because it's definitionally something you don't need to justify. Nope. Sorry. No can do. $5 from Ryan Gasling. Well, it's hard to put a number on it. Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't put a number. I can't put one on there. I can't put a number on it.
I'm in therapy, folks.
All right, here we go. Let's get into some real nonsense machines here.
For your ego.
and it's interesting because it raises, and this is not my field of expertise, but it raises questions about what life is.
Right.
Because you could say that life is it's about information. It's really computing.
Isn't that funny? I got, this is a great trap to get the naturalist to step in. I got Peterson to step in this during our debate in Nashville. When they say the word computing, they have to start special pleading because, you guys, what do we know about computing? What do we know about information and computing? Computing requires intent. Computing requires engineering. Computing requires coding, decoding, encoding. Or I should say coding, encoding, decoding. And they say this stuff, and they just don't even think about it. They don't think about the entailments or the consequences of what they're saying. Oh, it's just computing. Well, I'm sorry. So you're necessitating a computer designer. Well, not computing in that sense. Computing in another sense. You mean in a sense we don't understand? Yeah, but it's computing. It's information. Oh, really? Information, you say. Now, is information conceptual? There, Brian Cox? Is information conceptual? Is it abstract?
Is what life is.
Holy moly.
So it's not really, what you're saying there really is biology, the nature, the physicality.
Look at that stupid hair. Man, I want to light that hair on fire.
That we think of as life. We think of biological systems with DNA and all those things.
Right.
But you can argue that that's not the really interesting bit. That's just the way that it's realized.
That's an expression. It's an expression of the true thing, which is the computing. The computing. Which, if that is the case, then we have stumbled into the creation of life that will replace us. Which is, if we ever get to artificial general intelligence, and what?
Gosh, these people are retarded.
You're saying is
replace us? This is so stupid, because it's like the imagined fetish of computing and technology replacing us assumes that the telos of the thing itself would be human centric. Why would you think that? Oh, all of the stuff we're making for our benefit, for our goals, they're going to replace us. What do you mean replace us? How is computing going to replace us? It could kill us. Like, I'll give you, like, some sort of dependency and a complete crash. Scarcity. It could potentially kill humanity as a side effect. But replace us is like saying, like, it's going to fill our shoes. No, robots, cold robots with no real desires that are just fulfilling and executing commands don't replace human beings. They could, like I said, human beings can go away, but it's not like what's left over will start looking at their phones, telling jokes at the lunch table, making racist jokes.
Is an emergent property of computing, which is also an expression of
an emergent property of dude, these people use these lingo terms. It's just unbelievable. Emergent property, the most meaningless statement from an atheist ever. That's their magical word.
Of life, then it's only a matter of time. But
you ask this guy what an emergent property actually means and how he determines one effect of nature is an emergent property and another isn't. How do you determine that?
For that particular computing becomes a life form, which of course will outthink us, outlive us, out everything us.
What a gay guy.
Terminator.
Well, yeah, and this is, again,
don't smile while you're agreeing with him on that.
No,
Can I see a sad face for once on that mug?
But one of the things I've been involved in, I'm involved at a research institute called the Francis Crick Institute in London, which is the biosciences. It's a wonderful place.
By the way, Francis Crick, the one who, with his buddy, discovered the actual structure, of DNA and this association to information. And that's when he went back to the more ancient, pseudo-ancient view of panspermia, because Crick himself was like, wait a second, dude, we're dealing with information. There's actual informed activity from this. Like the meat sack, the actual hardware is being informed by a type of software. And that's why he was like, well, he didn't want to say it was God, so it was easier to say, well, I think this is probably from another intelligence. That's what I think.
So it's a temple to curiosity. I love the place. There's a great Nobel Prize winner called Sir Paul Nurse, who's a good friend of mine, who won the Nobel Prize for cancer research, actually by looking at yeast cells. So it's a remarkable sort of fundamental study of life. But he really pioneered the building of this institute, or inspired it in his image, which is about
Francis Crick
curiosity.
co-discovered the DNA double helix.
Oh, that's why it's called the Crick Institute.
Yeah.
But we did some podcasts called A Question of Science, actually, which are around. And we just did them at the Crick Institute and with panels of experts. And it was wonderful for me because I just chaired it and asked the questions. Mm-hmm. And it was mainly audience questions, actually. But one of them was on AI. And there was an interesting split in the panel between the neuroscientists and the computer scientists.
Really?
So the neuroscientists really felt that, for
are they all lesbians?
example,
Well, every progressive man who grows up and then tries to double down on their vanity, instead of getting all wrinkly properly, they try to beautify themselves. They end up look like lesbians. That's just how it goes.
large language models, which is what we have at the moment,
Right.
were just symbol shuffling things and the brain is fundamentally different to that. So we are not large language models.
I kind of feel that way about them as well.
I kind of feel that way too.
It's just rearranging statistical juxtapositions of words.
Right.
And
it's seeing all the probabilities.
I don't feel like it understands anything.
Yeah.
When I
no, it doesn't understand. Calculators don't understand. Computers don't understand. There's no evaluation. There's a if-then statement multiplied by 1,000,000 or whatever, the more complex. There's no thinking. They're not thinking. Now, under their view, they think it's thinking because from their view, they're computers. From these people's view, they are actually determined mechanisms, which is hilarious to watch because determined mechanisms have no access to knowledge or truth. That's a consequence of determinism from this mechanistic view. There's no access to truth or knowledge. And yet there they are talking on podcasts, pretending that they're, from their view, they're not just deterministically making sounds out of their mouth holes. No different than their buttholes, really, ultimately. Same category.
Interact with a large language model. It's like this is...
I got into large language models. I wanted to, in my old age, I want to learn big words, you know. I want to talk like a smarty pants, you know. Because I can't, the thing is I can't beat everyone up anymore, so I have to beat them with the smarts. That's why I do a word a day on dictionary.com. Sometimes I'll my pigeon go out there and get a newspaper and get a clipping and bring me back a word of the day. And I'll try to say the word. It's like, it's pretty hard. It gets pretty hard to say it, though, It's like, I had a really good Christmas break, too, Got, all the kids around, the presents and all that bullshit, And my favorite part is in the candy cane. It's a song, Christmas songs. It's like, what's that one song? Sister Susie sitting on a thistle. That just makes me...
Vacuous eyes staring back at me, and there's no soul behind it.
Yeah. Well, the argument one of the panelists gave was that imagine that you're immortal, so time doesn't matter to you.
I mentioned you're immortal.
Mm-hmm. But we could be in this room if we were immortal, and someone could start putting little symbols in under the door. And if we put the right symbol out, we'd get some food, right? So we'd soon learn what the right symbol was. And then they put 2 through the door, and we do the same thing, and then 3. And ultimately, if we had a huge amount of time, kind of a near infinite amount of time, we'd end up having a conversation.
Right.
And we'd do it right. But at no point would we have any clue what was going on. We'd not have any understanding at all of what we were doing.
It's a transactional exchange of simple information that...
These people are so retarded. Like, it's just amazing we're at a time in culture where whatever happened presented the dumbest thinkers on the biggest stages, right? Like they don't actually think about what they're saying. They're like a bunch of kids just talking. They don't think about whether or not what they're saying makes sense. They're talking about a deterministic mechanical exchange of information and understanding. And then they use things like information without actually talking about the ontology of information, which is immaterial, by the way. There's no material information.
That itself is not anything more than just
there's no understanding.
Symbols. There's no understanding.
That's one of the points of view that were expressed. But
was that the neuroscientist?
That was a neuroscientist who said that. I think it goes back to the philosopher called Searle. I think there's an argument he made a long time ago about symbol shuffling, Searle's argument. So it's similar to that. But
no. Symbol shuffling is not random because symbols need to be intent driven. I mean, you see how annoying this is? They're like, let's talk about whether or not there's a world where there's just a bunch of symbols that can randomly shuffle around and make some information and meaning. You need someone with a mind, with intent to craft a symbol such that it can be conveyed and received by another mind. Well, I want to just grant me a deck of cards of symbols. Maybe we shuffle the symbols, and then we'll eventually understand them. It's like, dude, you need intelligibility and intent and mind to create the symbol before you do this hypothetical shuffle machine. I want to beat all of them up. Scottish, thank you so much. 5 buckaroos. JB, are these specimens? What happened to the people raised in echo chambers that have never heard of abstract thought, actual thinking? I don't know what they are. They're like products. They ironically almost prove determinism. Chaw, $10. Modern scientism is basically a really badly constructed building that we pretend is a mountain of knowledge, and it only exists in an attempt to answer questions without allowing God to be the answer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's scientism. Don't get Chaw wrong. Science, the methodology, is very useful. But they've abandoned real science.
One of the computer scientists said, no, that irrespective of what you think about that, that's what we are. So we don't know what we are. We don't know.
That's what we are. We don't know what we are. Fucking idiots, man. That's it. That's what we are. We don't know what we are, but that's what we are. We don't know what we are. I'm a fucking nonsense machine. I'm an absolute nonsense machine.
What we are. So we don't know what we are. Irrespective of what you think about that, that's what we are. So we don't know what we are. We don't know what consciousness is. So it could be that that's all we're doing. We're really, and it's true, I suppose, at the cellular level, at the level of a neuron.
Wow.
There's no understanding.
Wow, damn, son.
Don't tell me that. I don't want to think. I don't want to believe that.
Stuff.
Now that you mention it,
yeah,
there are acoustic stimuli coming from your mouth, entering my ear, hitting my brain.
Yeah, notice that. And you know that there's nothing material that's transferring to your brain, whatever's left of it, Neil Tyson-ish mustache. There's nothing material that you can find as information that's transferring from his mouth to your ear. Nothing. It's a physical effect called sound waves hitting your eardrum. And isn't it interesting that it's conveying something that's not identical to the perturbation of air?
And now I process that and some other response comes out. And maybe I'm not conscious of anything.
No, you're just like chat.
I'm just an
information processing and response machine.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
And I think that...
No. It's very possible. No. Even that would require something else to be the case. These people are just, it's really the worst. It depresses me. Oh, you're just a machine. No. You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know it's possible, actually. You can't even say it's possible. These people are such low-tier thinkers that they don't even understand that when they say that could be possible, that they don't have access to that if they're purely deterministic. They don't even have access to what's possible. Well, it's totally possible that I'm just a machine in motion. You can't say that.
This debate is quite live, actually.
You're just chemicals. Isn't that great?
Amongst people, among many people who all know what they're talking about. And there are different views, which just shows you it's complex, a complex emergent phenomenon.
What? Complex emergent? Are you just saying words now? Are you just going to say any word? It's complex and emergent now?
That makes sense. And
you don't know what makes sense, boy.
That is why...
Just sit down, boy.
A lot of, and these aren't, neuroscientists.
Dude needs to look smack.
Scientists, computer scientists, but there's many in the AI world who feel like given enough time, you just train the AI on everything.
It's always given enough time.
If you have enough time and enough computing power.
Hey, the key word there is train. That means there's intent still. Unbelievable.
They will definitely be truly thinking. They're like think.
No, they won't be truly thinking. They'll be coded to execute commands.
Thinking the way we consider thinking.
Yeah. Especially when you think of thinking in that way. Right. And it reminds me of a New Yorker comic, I think it was. There were two dolphins swimming, right, in this water park. and there are humans up walking on the walkway, and one dolphin says to the other, they open their mouths and noises go between them, but it's not clear they're actually communicating.
Yes, exactly. Right. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to put them in gulags. I'm not going to lie. It makes me like wish the witch burning thing was actually real. I mean, it's so low tier. It's so low tier.
Yeah. So I get that there's emergence in these complex systems, but what is this talk I hear of emergence from the standard model of particle physics? What's going on there? I thought that's...
By the way, emergentism, there's a whole school of philosophy called emergentism. And it's funny because I think Father Deacon Ananias has done a couple talks on this. The school of emergentism is incompatible with the way they liberally use the term emergent property constantly. They're like, oh, everything's an emergent. What that means is that there's some phenomenon physically that emerges from previous physical processes, a collection of different particulars. So, one example, they'll say like wetness. Well, that's conceptual. But they'll say wetness, the referent, the thing we're referring to, wetness, is emergent from water. That water is wet, which I don't even think that's a great analogy or a great example because water itself is liquid. So you're just saying like, well, is liquid a emergent property of water? No. When you refer to something that's wet, you're actually referring to an object that has water on it. The water itself is liquid. To say like liquid is an emergent property of liquid doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If you know what I mean? So it all comes down to physical effects for these people. And emergentism posits that there is a system, simple or complex, that the collection of the system itself in its operation produces some sort of phenomenon, some property they call it. But the problem is that view, it produces a novel property. That means the property that it produces is nominal. That means it's peculiar to that one collection of items. There's no other phenomenon or property like it, like that's identical to it. And this is why it leads to, it starts from a nominal position, but it falls apart further because if they always say, like Matt Dillahunty says, that the mind is an emergent property of the brain, they're making a distinction without a difference. You ask them easily, like I asked a couple people in the chat last night on a debate, how do you determine what the mind is versus the brain from that physicalist view? And they can't do it. And following the emergentism philosophy, each person's mind, there is no universal in the term mind. There's just nominal properties from their view arising from a material thing. So when you refer to it as a mind, you're actually now introducing a universal that you don't have. You don't have a justification for the thing called a universal. Like, oh, it's their mind. Everyone's brain is producing their mind. No, you don't have a universal called mind. Is it just me, or does this British guy sound like he's about to sing the? Yeah, exactly. He sounds exactly like all of the Beatles.
It's a pretty straightforward grid of what exists and what should exist or how they interact.
If I understand the question right, so there are quite basic things about particles that are difficult to derive from the standard model. So the standard model is, here is the quarks and so up quark, down quark, electron,
It's an inventory.
So we have 12 matter particles, the Higgs boson, and then 3 forces that it describes.
It's an inventory.
Yeah. And then it tells us.
I like that word, inventory.
About the interactions, but
it's an inventory.
It's got how particles interact with each other and through which forces do they interact.
When in doubt, show some space. Star Talk. Bunch of gibberators. Breakfast Tacos wanted me to debate this guy, Leo Filius. And I was thinking about it because the debate is something I kind of like, which is under physicalism, is knowledge even possible? I make the argument from the argument the other day that Brenda couldn't handle. Brenda. But I was interacting with him in the chat, and I realized that this debate would be a waste of time for me. Why? Because this guy, Leo Filius, he was saying temperature itself, like the temperature as a concept, is found in nature. And I was like, no, temperature is referring to the measurement of heat or energy. Temperature, just like an inch or length, you don't find that in nature. I couldn't even get this guy to agree that temperature itself is a conceptual metric that's arbitrarily crafted by humans to then engage with things that are actual, like heat or energy or whatever. I couldn't even get him to say it, dude. I was like, I can't, dude, I can't. You should do it, Leo is all right. No, Joseph, I'm demonstrating why that would be a waste of my time. If I can't get someone to agree that things like measurements of heat is what we refer to as temperature, and that the thing temperature itself is not a referent in space-time. There's nothing physical itself as an item called temperature. It's insane, dude. You saw that? Yeah. I'm glad you were to see that, Mr. Horse. It was wild because I was like, and then I got him to concede, and then he doubled down. I was like, Leo, how do you measure energy? He was like, no, it's not heat that I'm measuring, it's energy. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, cool. How do you measure energy? And he's like, a thermometer. And I was like, does a thermometer habitually measure heat? It's just lies, dude. It's like nonsense. It's like, it's a waste of time. It's designed to like fluster you. That's all it is. Your chat debate was more interesting. I know, the chat GPT debates are more interesting. That's for sure. So there's that. What else we have here on the menu? This is just going to be like a sort of like a fill-in stream. Nothing crazy. Just meet my goal, hang out a little bit. Oh, you guys want to hear a new riff I have? I don't know what song this is going to become, but I'm into this riff. Let me find it for you. I quite like it. It's groovy. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Ready? Let me see. Media source 3. Media. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I need drums. I need a lot. This is very rudimentary, so just bear with me here. It's got summertime. It's got 1996 vibes. Can you guys hear it? Can you guys hear it? Needs like a big drum fill when that bass comes in. You know what I mean? I'm not good at drums. I'm not good at coding drums. I'm not good at any of it. But usually a riff doesn't really excite me. I'm like, whatever. This sounds shuffed. Wait, what's shuffed mean? Do I have to look that up? Shuffed? Thank you? I mean, I recorded it right into like the OBS, so it's really muffled. I'm going to record a version of it. You know what the vibe I'm trying to get? I'm trying to get the vibe of like New Radicals. You know what I mean? Did you hear about the shuffing? No, I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds bad. It sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like something I don't want to know about, but go ahead. Determined machines can't observe themselves. It's really that easy. Yeah. There's no evaluation process. That's right, Scott. Breakfast Tacos surrounds himself with the dumbest. It's true. I try to tell him, man. He really does surround himself with the dumbest. And like I said, they all hate each other because they don't correct each other. You'll rarely find them like sort of going against each other, you know, but usually not. It's usually anything but Christianity or anything but God kind of scenario. $5. Oh yeah. Well, I just chat GPT'd if temperatures is found in nature and it said yes. Yeah, right. No, well, I mean the thing itself, temperature. No, it's not. Heat. The thing you're measuring is found. I like you, so don't take this the wrong way, but that sounded basic. That's fine. It is basic. Basic isn't bad. In fact, a lot of good songs are basic. But look, dude, that was just guitar and bass, man. Gosh. Unbelievable. It's like, hey guys, I have this riff. It might go through a song that would be more dynamic. And they're like, it's so basic. Yeah, it is basic, dude. It's literally D, C, G, D. It's what it is. Jeez, tough crowd. The grandson is requesting L's in the chat. Yeah. L's in the chat. L's in the chat. L's in the chat. L's in the chat. W, simple chord. Yeah, of course. Simple. And that's just the verse. I don't know. There's got to be a chorus to that. There's got to be a bridge. I think I might throw in some ukulele in there. You know what I mean? That's what producers are for. You know what I'm saying? You outsource it to a producer who has a vision. They add in all that stuff. They make it dynamic. They do stuff. L's in the chat is way catchier. It's true. That is catchier. It's true. I still think that's catchy though. I think that's the, like, this has the feel of like, what's the feel? It's like, it's like summertime. Nobody has their phones. That's all I got. It's summertime. Nobody has their phones, and it's not necessarily a party. It's more like it's like a day trip. That's what it is. It feels like a day trip. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you, casual. Oh, dude, I was trying to figure this out. It is Mac DeMarco vibes. Yes. Super compliment, by the way. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Now that I think of it, I was trying to like sing over it earlier. And what was coming out of me, I was like, this sounds similar. I can't put my finger on what it is. And it's exactly that, dude. It's Mac DeMarco. That's what it was. Good ear. Good ear. We're eternally united. Casual. We're eternally, forever united. We're bonded for life because of that. So that's how easy it is around here. Do we have any opposition in the chat? They always kind of scurry away like cockroaches. Just scurry about. Move along, move along, move along. P. Mars versus Danny. Oh, man, that's got to be bad. You're racist. Preaching the gospel to the KKK. That's actually pretty funny. Dude, you gotta get your Bryce Crawford fix, don't you? Don't you guys deserve it? Tell you what, I mean, we're at halfway through the goal. You guys have earned this. Our favorite apologist.
In Arkansas right now, I'm here with Mr. Thomas Robb, the National Director, Grand Imperial Wizard of the Knights Party of the Ku Klux Klan. And you're here in Harrison. This is a Christian Revival Center. This is where you guys gather and you pastor the church out here, correct?
You're correct on most of that.
Okay, what am I incorrect on?
Oh, first off, it's not Imperial Wizard. That's a term that hasn't been used in years. I'm just National Director.
Okay.
And this is not a Klan church, because kind of what you implied. This is a church. The church and the Klan.
Shoegaze song? I don't get the reference, man. I wish I did. Tony probably gets that reference.
Totally separate organizations, separate mailing lists, separate bank accounts, separate everything.
Okay.
The Klan.
Thank you, Draco.
And only requires you to be a professing Christian.
Okay.
Okay. We don't go into doctrines. We're not going to say, do you believe this, or you believe this, or you believe this. Then
so no church.
You can join. If you're a professing Christian, then you can join the Klan without any type of religious test.
What's like the prerequisite to join the Klan versus the church?
I'd go like 15 minutes in. Okay. You saw this before?
His girlfriend?
No.
No. But you love your girlfriend more, don't you?
Those pants, dude. Dude, is he wearing Birkenstocks? Bro, he's wearing suede Birkenstocks. Bryce.
I do.
Shoegaze was UK 90s genre. Oh, thank God. So it wasn't an insult.
You love my girlfriend.
Yeah, right. And so I have mom and dad. I love my mom and dad more than your mom and dad. I have children. You don't have any children. But I've asked people sometime. I'm going to ask him right now. Do you love your children more than my?
$5 for song construction lessons? Dude, I would love it. $5? I mean, that's not a really good lesson, though, is it? $5.
My children? I'm not offended by that. In fact, I expect him to. I'll be disappointed in him if he's like, no, I'm not really. I love your kids more. You know, there's an inheritance involved. That might be okay.
Well, I feel like.
So I feel we have allegiance to our people. We have allegiance to it. This is our people. This is my people. We have allegiance to them. We have a loyalty to them. We have to respect the generations and generations and generations and generations have gone before us, have produced this.
Speaking of producing, your field producer, Bryce, needs to tell the guy to stop moving or change the lav mic location to a lower button, not the collar. Please. Hey, JB. Wouldn't they also have to say that the orientation is also gray matter and chemicals? Yes. If so, doesn't that entail stuff like certain type of therapy being possible under their own view? Yes. Yes. Everything that they're referring to. That's why it's so insane to think like everything is like chaos creating emergent, illusory structure. But that requires something that's not illusory and has purpose and direction. So it's just nonsense. But a bunch of nonsense. I've heard you're strumming. $5 is all I'm willing to risk. Am I strumming? Oh, yeah. I'm not really... actually, I'm not a strummer. I'm more of a flat picker and what do you call it? Travis picking. I quite like Travis picking, so strumming's not my jam. But thank you. It's like, it's just, it's like a weird position to be in, just to be like mogged with a super chat. It's like, here's $5, you suck. I mean, it's kind of refreshing.
People we represent.
I mean, I feel like me personally, I feel like that example of like saying I love my girlfriend more than Dylan loves his girlfriend is a little bit of like a poor analogy, because I feel like Jesus.
Light World says, you want to know a secret? I am the way and the truth of life. What? No, you're not God. You're not Jesus. Get the fuck out of here.
Himself has the unconditional love. Like I believe Jesus had levels of trust with people, right? The scriptures say he entrusted himself to no man, and he had the masses, the 72, then the 12, then Peter, James, and John, and then John, right? But the scriptures would tell us that Jesus loved everyone unconditionally, right? That there was no strings attached. The offer was on the same for all people, no matter where you are, the Romans and the Jews in the time period. The sacrifice of Jesus was for both people. His love was on the table for all of them, right? But he had levels of trust. You know, there's a reason why
he said, I'm not sent for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Yeah, for the time period, right? I think.
So now you put a time period to it. What about the Apostle Paul in Romans 9?
Well, hold on. I feel like
this is great. Two heterodox heretics. This is my favorite. Like, this is what happens, man. You just like, the irony is Bryce is running around trying to correct people who have come to conclusions using the same broken methodology that he uses. It's like, what do you expect, dude? What do you expect's going to happen? Oh, we're really running into some insane hermeneutics. Where does that come from? It comes from the ultimate foundation for all heresies, sola scriptura. The ultimate foundation for all heterodox, broken, fractured views is someone declares themselves post-revelation, post-canon, obviously some even before that, but declares themselves the authority on interpretation. You know, what do you mean? Look, the Bible fell from the sky and God used men as puppets so that I could finally wait 2,000 years later after Gutenberg created the press, and now I have access to it, to the truth of it. No. I'm not trying to take away from Christ's church and the people that fought for and fought against heresies and maintain. By the way, you would assign authority to the councils, being that was the essential part in determining the truth of the matter and maintaining the truth of the matter of Christianity. They're like, yeah, no, I don't want to take away from them. I'm just glad they were able to produce what they did so that I could have it now. It's like the most prideful shit I've ever seen. If you follow my word, you should stay on the right path of truth. You're not Christ, Light World. So just stop it. Go take your meds. Go put your helmet on. This isn't the chat for you. Okay? Stop blaspheming. Stop pretending you're Christ, or I'll hunt you.
When you take that scripture, Jesus did say, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? The same way that you can't be
I'm in charge of what's best, yeah.
in Harrison, Arkansas, and Memphis, Tennessee at the same time. Jesus was limited in his human nature to a time period. Okay. And Deuteronomy 7, right? Like, I don't know why God chose the nation of Israel to hyperfixate on. And I don't think it's because he thought that they were more superior or of more value or lesser value than other races. Deuteronomy 7 says,
John's myth? Is there a John's myth? Wait, John Smith? John's myth. You can call in. You want to do Sola Scriptura? You want to do some Sola Scriptura?
Well, it's not, because I think you're...
Go over to Discord, my man. We love it over here. We love Sola Scriptura. We get it. Well, let's get it on, yo. Let's get it on, son. Shata la Bikioku. Yeah, definitely. Get over there. I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd love to listen to your Sola Scriptura approach.
You're more value, this, that, and the other.
He that has judged me has already been judged. Here, I'm judging you right now. See you later. Nobody wants to see you anymore. Goodbye. Go out on the raft. You're set out to drown in the ocean. You're no longer welcome in Jortlandia. Off with your head. I just ended your lineage. Goodbye.
It's just because I love you, and that's why I chose you. And I don't know the macro plan on why God chose Israel, according to Scripture.
Chose Israel? Oh goodness. Oh, goodness.
Other than that, he loved them.
Well, nobody understands the mind of God. In fact, I think it's kind of arrogant Jews. In fact, Arthur Koestler, in his book, The 13th Tribe, talks about that the massive conversion of the Khazars to Judaism and to the Talmudic religion. And he said the normal person, and Arthur Koestler was a Jewish historian, he's the normal European has more Israel blood in them than the typical Jews of today.
So would you consider yourself a real Israelite?
Correct.
And what deems you a real Israelite?
Well, racially, okay, is...
Racially? That's hilarious. Oh, boy. I don't know if I could take any more of this. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but...
Okay.
False doctrine, godlessness, sexual immorality.
So what does this deception look like, though?
Well, that's the nasty thing about deception is you don't know you're being deceived when you're being deceived.
In fact, we read in 2 Thessalonians that God says, because they don't have love for the truth, I'm going to send them a strong delusion. God is going to send strong delusion that they'll believe a lie.
So what do you think?
Game caller, would be a waste of time. Game caller, you've called in, haven't you, or at least talked to me? Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, there's been minds changed for sure. There's people who have been hardcore sola scripturists who eventually, not even through necessarily argumentation, but just church history alone, it refutes sola scriptura. Like like sola scriptura is actually logically impossible. It's not just practically impossible. Sola scriptura is logically impossible.
Lie is that people are believing.
I believe. Well, first off, strong deception coming from the rebellion of Satan, and the rebellion of Satan has a.
Look, this old guy's figuring it out. He just opened his Bible and he's piecing together the theology that has been maintained and preserved for 2,000 years. He's getting it. He's investigating.
The army, you might say, okay, and that army does not come.
This remnant of Israel, and then further,
God created.
It's freaking boring as shit. Super boring. I like when he talks to homeless people. You know what I mean? That's my favorite Bryce, where he's out there talking to homeless people. Yeah, my physics teacher in his always said there's no such thing as cold, it's an absence of heat. That's right. Yeah. Go to liturgy, stop touching butts. Caleb coming in without not realizing that I already printed that as a bumper sticker. You can go get it at madebyjimbob.com. Go to liturgy, stop touching butts. Comes in yellow, rainbow, purple, and brown. So I don't know how you knew that, dude. What have you been up on my website lately? Based on the Bible. Yeah, speaking of, what is Chad? Let's hear Chad White's more recent sermon, shall we? Is that his name? Chad, I think that's his name. Chad White? Chad, the guy on Joe Rogan. Chad, who has a southern accent. Right? Oh, this is him on Rogan. He always has a thing going on. He always has something he's about to say in the woods. he does. He's like, I got to do another woods. He's like the Jesse Wells. He's like the Jesse Wells of Protestantism. But he's also been getting a lot of pushback because like people are like yelling at him like me. And he's like, well, I've been doing these things in the woods for some time. James White? No, Chad Wright. His name's Wright. Yeah, James White is another guy. So he does these rants in the woods, and then people go, dude, stop it. People are like, that's a broken Calvinist view. He's like, I don't know what you call it. That's just what I came to as a conclusion. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it Arianism. I'm not up to date with any of these names. And you're like, dude, this has all been covered. All of them. Every one of these heresies, they've been covered, they've been documented, they've been debated. They've been refuted, and they just keep popping up because of the Bible. The Bible. Well, the Bible told me. Boomer rants in the woods. Soteriology. That's 2 months ago. I don't know. How about politics? Let's just move, because this is gonna bore me. What's going on over at X? I'm in constant debates with these Unitarians, man. They're like my next Mormon. Speaking of Mormonism, I'll be debating another Mormon. Is Mormon Christian? Is LDS Christianity? On Tuesday, it'll be on Modern Day Debate and here. And right here. And it's one of my favorite topics, particularly. And I'm starting to realize that a lot of times I'm doing metaphysics. I'm doing like, does this make sense? God the Father having a father. That's all fun and stuff when it comes to Mormonism. And it's brutal. It's definitely like fatal to show the incoherency of their view. They don't have a standard for a prophet. But what I've realized, and it's a very strong point against anything heterodox or alternative to orthodoxy, is ecclesiology is so essential to anyone's Christian view. Anyone who says they're Christian, yes, you can attack their soteriology and all these distinctions. Yeah, you can do that. But ultimately, everybody who's talking right now, who's alive right now, is going to appeal to some authoritative body in the past. And this is where they really get squirrely. And they should. All of you Prots in the chat, all of you Unitarians, Mormons, LDS, whatever, you guys should get really squirrely when we start going back in the past. And the reason the past is something valid to go to is they have to hold to the statement that Christ himself started a church. They have to hold that. That's a very essential starting position on a Christian position. So when you ask the question, is X Christian, whether it's LDS or Calvinism or this or that, you start with, by Christian, we mean Christ established a church, a teaching, a doctrine, a college, a great commission that exists in reality, in matter, within this material world. You can participate in this thing called Christianity. And they say, yeah, that. Well, once they say that, man, all you have to do, really, and it takes some time, but all you have to do, it's pretty simple. You ask them where they are today. For instance, I ask a Unitarian, where is the authoritative Unitarian true church today? That's already an impossible task. But that's not even it. Whatever they say, oh, it's here, it's in San Francisco, it's this, it's an invisible body. Okay, so where are they? Do you guys manage some ecclesiastic structure? Do you teach? You know? And they'll go, yeah, I say like this and like this. Or, okay, cool. Can you trace whatever your current status right now, right? Because it's got to be Episcopal. If you claim to a Christian position that you're a part of a Christian church, it has to be Episcopal. There has to be some authoritative structure that's passed down and maintained. The teaching has to be uniform, historical, and in existence right now. And what you find is they have to, like LDS do, they have to establish some sort of apostasy that happened, like a dead church, like a comatose church in the past. So they decided at different points, like the Muslim dilemma. It gives you about like the 7th century where they don't know the true church. They don't know because of the dilemma. Mormons is 100 AD, the death of the apostles. That's when they have to hold that the church, the true church, which was LDS, broke away. Now the Unitarian, similar to the Mormon, they have to say that Christ established a Unitarian church and told his apostles to go out, and the Great Commission was to teach Unitarianism. And if you grant that to them, you don't concede that, but if you grant that to them, then they have to have something that happened that went away from that. And it has to happen very quickly. And also you have to be able to simultaneously find a church that's Unitarian, and the only thing they can really appeal to is the Arians. That's really the only group, heretical group at the time, that a Unitarian would say that's the true church, the Arians. That's what they'd have to say, right? Well, historically, there's a big problem there. We're going to go over it on Monday because I'm covering Unitarianism on Monday. So, Game Caller says, I understand why you think church authority is important, Jim Bob. At what point does it become too much, though? Have you ever asked that question? That's a nebulous question. The church authority is inexplicably tied to the Eucharistic Episcopal practices, the sacraments. So how could you have too much? What does that mean? Too much? I don't even know what you're referring to. That's like saying, can Christ himself be too much of a high priest? It's like, does that make sense? Can the apostles have too much authority? Well, no, if it's a true church, it's the true body of Christ. You can't say the body of Christ has too much authority. That doesn't make any sense, dude. That doesn't even make sense. That's why it's important for you to understand, Game Caller, that the only coherent way to view church traditionally. The only way to view it is that it's the body. It is the body. Now, it makes sense that you don't have an authoritative body, so you're like, well, the church could be too much. Well, no, that fundamentally shows how you view the term itself, church. You think church is like some separate institution that's all like man-made and stuff. And that makes sense from your view to go, oh, that has to go too far at some point because it's man-made. Well, no, your presupposition is wrong. It's totally wrong. You're actually judging the authority of the church from a position where you're assuming already that it's man-made and crafted. And it's like, oh, I understand man-made organizations that help facilitate things. That's good. But don't you think it can go too far? It's like, no, it's the opposite, by the way, that goes too far. It's actually the opposite that goes too far. It's the rejection of church authority. It's the rejection of church history. It's the rejection of a narrow path, apostolic succession, unchanged practices. It's the rejection of that goes way too far. And I would say, what's too far? One step is too far. One step is too far away from that. And it really comes down, Game Caller, to a simple thing. You want to be the authority of your own theology. It's personal to you. You're the priest. You're the bishop. You're the disciple. You're the revelator. It's you. You're the one. You got tapped. You're the one. I'm actually, what's crazy, dude, is that puts way more weight on you anyway. Spiritual weight. How do you know when you're lost if you're the legend? Tell me. How do you know you're in spiritual prelest if you don't appeal to any normative authority at all historically. How do you know when you're lost in the woods? You don't. That's like saying, well, I'm the compass. And you're like, no, I'm not the compass. I'm just the compass reader. God's the compass, and I just wait with my little apparatus to go in a direction. I wait and get the feeling, burning in my bosom. Very Mormon epistemology. I get the feeling. Baby, I get the feeling. James Brown theology. 20 big buckaroos from Chaw. I am now seeing from this conversation why it's funny to watch two sola scriptura practitioners fight each other over who is reading the Bible wrong. The irony is that they're as heretical as atheists. Yeah, it's a wild thing to watch. Thank you for that. Very generous. Speaking of retarded, I think Jacob Hansen is actually a plant. Like, I think Jacob Hansen, because of how retarded he is, I'm convinced that he's like some sort of hired gun, honestly, at this point, to make like LDS look bad, if that doesn't need any help from him. But I think he might actually have a head injury. And I'm not even trying to be like too hyperbolic here. I think he actually has one. He writes, Jacob Hansen writes this. Listen to this take. You guys see this right here? He says, because I wrote I wrote something about Scripture needing an interpretive authority. Jacob Hansen, who, by the way, holds that Scripture is errant. Why would you need a church authority if it's errant? Scripture is authoritative because of who wrote it, he says. And this is the typical thing. You say, well, no, the Scripture was written, a Unitarian would say, a Scripture is written by Unitarians. That's why it's authoritative. Well, here's what's so silly about Jacob Hansen. He writes, Scripture is authoritative because who wrote it, not because of a particular institution recognizing it. You are bad at this, he writes. I responded appropriately, that statement requires an authority that's not from the authors, you dipshit. Maybe it's the case that these people are designed to pull all of our energy out of us. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the case. It's just like a waste of time. It's just like designed to be an energy suck waste of time. Maybe everyone's right about debating. I still say it does something for the audience to debate. So, Game Caller says the Orthodox Church can do no wrong. Well, people can do wrong inside the church, but you're still not getting it, Game Caller. You still don't understand the term church. Look, Game Caller, let's make it simple on you. Forget thinking about how you conceptualize a plurality of churches for a second. Game Caller, try to follow this for a second. Here, let's take a simple question here. Game Caller, in the chat, do you believe that Christ started his church? Take it one crayon at a time. Do you believe that Christ started his church? Okay, I'll skip ahead. So the answer is yes. I mean, if you say no, then you're out of the debate anyway. So yes, he started his church. Do you believe his church is the pillar of truth? Yes. Now, you notice how simple this is, right? Now, forget, he's leaving, but it's fine. It's for the audience. This is how simple it is. Don't get into too crazy territory here. Don't get into the weeds. It's very simple. Someone who calls themselves Christian, like Game Caller, if it's the case Christ started a church, and if that's a historical fact from that view, and that his church is the pillar of truth, that is to say, it's an extension of his body, then it would follow that the church, the true church, couldn't do wrong. That would follow. So the only question ends up being, game caller and people in his position, is if you agree that Christ started a church and the church itself necessarily being the body and the pillar of truth, it actually couldn't do wrong as a body. Individuals can do wrong, but that's not what we're talking about when we say church. Okay? So if we agree on that, every Christian has to agree on that. That the church is singular, not plural, and that it is the body and that it's the pillar of truth. Well, cool. If everyone agrees on that, it's all it is at that point is whoever can take their current church that they're a part of and trace it back to Christ starting his church. Who can do that? Well, game caller can't do that. Jacob Hansen can't do that. They can't do it. Because in their head, their head is the church. I've even heard people say this. The mind is the temple. The body's the temple, and I'm the church. My body's the church, and it happens inside of my mind. I'm back. I'm not running. Yeah, so he missed the essential part, right? Okay, I'll just ask him again, game caller. Do you believe Christ started a church? Yes or no question, please. Pretty please. Did he start a church? And the answer is yes, he did start a church. Yes, he did. For 500. My body's a machine that turns my subjective opinions into salvation. Right. That's a good way of saying it, Goose. You still have a goose, by the way? You still have an actual goose? Alrighty. Fuentes and the Jews. Interesting. That could be interesting. Albert Smith, another $5 toward my guitar lessons. From a Prot solo, 5 solas in the WV. The church is just a place for believers to chit-chat, altar call. I don't know if you're being facetious and making fun of prots, or you're saying for a prot, the church, for a prot, the church is just that. It's like they always say, like, 2 or more gathered, and you're like, yeah, but dude, Arians gathered in someone's name too. You know what I mean? It's like all sorts of people gather and say the name Christ. I mean, who's that chick, the porn chick who just got dunked? That's in the name of Christ. Jared Taylor. He's on the Jolly Heretic, who I completely wrecked in an evolution debate, by the way. That was brutal, man. I didn't realize I was going to manhandle him so bad. I wasn't planning on that. I was like, this is going to be my toughest opponent. I did think that. I thought the Jolly Heretic was going to be my toughest opponent. We're gathering so hard right now. Dude, I gathered so hard the other day. It was me and my dog and the lake. The lake is the congregation. Worldview. Sorry, yeah, I couldn't distinguish that. Let's hear what he has to say, actually.
it has become impossible for the mainstream to completely ignore him.
Nick Fuentes? This young guy with a very high verbal IQ.
I think he has an extraordinary talent.
The Holocaust, this whole mocking it.
Me mom.
He's like, me mom died.
It's like, holy shit. Bro.
What do you think about that?
In effect, all European young people are blamed for the Holocaust. Young people are sick and tired of it.
My generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching.
One other thing that I believe is very important, and that is the reaction of the Israeli government to the attack of Hamas. This has been seen as disproportionate by a great many people. I believe that this has been one of the things that has made it more plausible, more likely, more justifiable to question what are the reasons for
what wise men say. I'm going to do a Jared Taylor singing Only Fools Rush In. Because I think there's a lot of W's and H's in that song.
Or America's unwavering support for Israel. Does it have to do with Jewish power, Jewish lobby in the United States? Does it have to do with allusions to the Holocaust to suggest that Jews are eternal victims and can never be oppressors? Donald Trump is now talking about the United States is reaching a...
This music is wild.
Tipping point.
You know, our country's at a tipping point.
Yeah, two or more gathered refers to the bishops. Yeah, that's why, was it St. Athanasius? He said where the bishop is, the church is. They just like cherry pick this. They're like, oh, it's just two lay people. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you go to liturgy? It's like the 4th century, right? Let's do a little later. It's the 5th century. Hey, bro, you going to liturgy? No. Two gather in his name. I'm staying right here in the alleyway. We're doing it. We're doing it right here.
We're at a tipping point.
And the only solution
the music
is reverse migration.
All right.
I mean, if you read Adam de Benoit's stuff.
I wear a scarf under every shirt. I wear a scarf in the shower.
It's, for example, his book on being a pagan. It's right.
I kind of feel bad. I kind of curb stomped this guy
right from the very beginning. It's they're in favor of he who comes second, the younger son. What the lesser person, the marginal.
I don't understand your gibberish.
Person. It's really, really, really deep in the Hebrew Bible. And then reflected in the New Testament as well. The younger son, he who comes second.
You know,
I have no idea what it is you're mumbling about. You're embarrassing.
I've not really thought about.
I've not really thought about everything coming out of your mouth.
That
what the who what?
But surely the
who, what, where?
Firstborn son. Those are exceptions, are they not? The kings of Israel. The descent was always through the firstborn son.
Yeah, they are exceptions, but they're exceptions in very really significant people, like Abraham and Isaac, or
it does sound like Hank Hill,
Jacob and Esau, and things like this.
When I'm older, I hope I get that 11 on my neck that Jared Taylor has. That is like, dude, that's like a mark of accomplishment. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting kind of identity, which then is developed over the years of the Holocaust as a unique.
Heretic is a vampire. He does look like a vampire, doesn't he? He looks like all of the characters from Monty Python were like somehow kind of fused together and became a human, it's like a synthesized human.
Unique.
Like I swear I saw him in one of the movies.
Yeah. In human history.
Right. Well, I think you can. I think far more than worrying about.
Furthermore, I think I could really get this guy's accent. Maybe he'll be more popular, worth doing a thing. But I feel like I can really pull this guy off. Like if I can work on it, for like a week, I think I could really pull it off.
What characterizes the Jewish view of the world and of Gentile societies around it is
slippery when wet.
It's a kind of
wipeout,
self-absorption that
was pretty whimsical.
Jewishness.
You get over your little whippersnapper.
Being Jews and the survival of Jews really not only comes first, but it comes first with
the scarf is covering his bite wounds. No, I think he doesn't have a body. I think if you pulled on Jolly Heretic's head and then the scarf sort of detached, it would be like just a series of like weird dendrils and veins and like who he reminds me of? Who's the famous character who has the mask and all of like the... I don't know why it reminds me of that. Like, is it in Batman? You know, the guy who talks like this. Kind of reminds me of him.
Sometimes a real indifferent.
What the hell are you wearing on your neck? What are you, some sort of homosexual?
To the culture in which it's immersed. As I said.
Yeah, Phantom? Yeah, maybe Phantom.
This guy...
Bane? Maybe Bane.
Earl Rabb at Brandeis University. For Jews to be comfortable.
He also looks like Darth Vader, though, when he takes his helmet off. Yeah.
In the United States, white people have to be reduced to minority. Now, does it even cross his mind what that means?
I just what I really want is I want to strap a black to the back of a white pickup truck. That's what I want.
Means for white people?
That's what I really want.
For them to lose any...
I want to whip one. What I want to do is I want to go to Compton. I want to whip one.
Kind of control of their own destiny, because the country's going to be so full of people who are unlike them and who can't be them, who don't want to be them, and probably don't like them very much anyway. Does that cross Earl Rabb's mind at all? Maybe, maybe not. But for him,
whippersnappers.
He wants a United States in which
you ever taste some cool whip.
Jews can feel at ease, and that's one that does not have a coherent racial or ethnic.
I am a dog whistle.
Cool. Whistle. So, and the way.
God, what I feel like I think the internet's dead. I can't find a single damn thing to watch where I'm captivated even for like 2 minutes. Please, someone help me in the chat, please. Everything just is so boring and sucks. And then I don't like it because then I feel like it's like, well, now I'm in that realm. Like maybe I'm sucking. Maybe this sucks. What the? Is there anything worth watching? I'm just trying to watch something. Can't even watch anything. Yeah, make a channel, Marilyn. Go live stream so I'll watch you. Jeez. What the whippery snapper whiplash. Holy whiplash. What should the right want? I already saw that. Why is that 2 days old? I don't know why. All right. Well, maybe there's something else. William Dafoe, Boondock Saints, I think, is Irish Bros. I remember Boondock Saints. Oh, yeah, Venezuela. We started a war. I feel like this is just another situation of like a what was that fancy book? Confessions of a Economic Hitman. I feel like we're doing this again. I think we're desperate. You know what I mean? I think American governments, they're like, people think they're out for like oil and this thing. I think they just want to make more Starbucks and McDonald's in South America. That's my pitch. Pierce Morgan, you ready for me yet? I think there's a global cabal that's pretty much oriented around McDonald's, mostly. It's like, yeah, you get the benefit of whatever's in the ground, you know. The old economic hitman routine is you basically threaten to help them. It's like the mafia. You're like, listen, Maduro, we really want to engage in free market economics, and we want to make McDonald's, and we want to spread democracy everywhere, right? That's what we want, guys? Guys, right? Under the guise of democracy. Now, don't get me wrong. Anyone who's leaning toward communism, I could care less if we stop them or intervene. But I don't know. I feel like all of these things work together. Like it's a good excuse to get it to do that, right? If you stop filthy minded systems. But then ultimately it comes down to like, well, what's replacing it? Like, do we have an obligation to replace every country, right? Their broken system with what we think is a great one, which it's not, which is like, just like, you know, like morally depleted consumerism. Like we need to get in there. We need to stop what they're doing so that I can, introduce freaking Amazon Prime abortion kits, overnight abortion kits. No, something else going on. Can I understand it? No, I don't know what fully is going on, but it just matches. It does actually match the economic hitman type of structure, where there's a reason. There's always a reason to get to a place. There's always another reason to intervene. It's not just to stop bad people. There's always a subsequent plan B. And usually it looks like that. It's like, okay, we want something there. You can't afford to get it. We can. Here's some money. Oh, you can't pay back the money? Oh, don't worry. We have another option. Give us your resources at cost. Whatever's underneath your feet. Oil, raw, whatever it is. Give us that at cost, and then you don't have to pay us back on the mortgage. You know what I mean? It's like the bank giving you a loan, and the bank knows that there's, like, let's say oil under your house, but you can't pay the loan, and the bank's like, well, that's okay. We'll just take your oil for free. How's that? And you're like, ugh. Man. Marcus Antonio, $20. Thank you so much. Gets me to 45. It's more about the first and second largest deposit of oil. Yeah, I figured that, Albert. I didn't even know that. I just kind of was like, that makes sense. Economic hitman all over again. Be under BRICS control. It's about also about BRICS courting a nation in our backyard. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It helps though, the narrative to like stop a bad political party. Don't get me wrong. That's pretty good. It's pretty good reason. That's a good reason. Gets people on board, you know? Gets people on board. I don't know. I have two extreme positions. I have this weird extreme isolationist view, but there's no in between, because you know the other view I have? Complete world domination. Like, I can't really justify an in between. Does anyone share that view with me? It's like, can't we just stop and focus in on America? Can we just like put up the walls, turn off forever immigration? Let's try to start making stuff inside the nation. Let's make families. Let's push toward orthodoxy. It's a long process, but it requires a bubble. We need to be in a protective sort of bubble. But then I'm just like, you know what? If that can't be a thing because we're too interconnected, let's just take over everything. Isolationism is gay. I could see that. I mean, the impulse is kind of like, well, can't I just be alone in the woods? And it's like, not in this case, you can't. That's too late. That game is over. Those days are over. We're too interconnected. We're too interdependent on different like systems that are. It's like this. It's like if a country is its own essential organ, the superhighways are connected to the other organs, which are other countries. Like that. Like that's what we're in. There's no like cutting the umbilical cord without some sort of disaster, from my view. So you're right, I think, Seraphim Goose. So, you know what? Good. I'm glad I settled that. Now I know my position. World domination. So, there we go. World domination, do whatever you can, get the resources, dominate the resources, you know. If Venezuela, if we need the oil and they want McDonald's, let's consider it a fair trade. You know what I mean? What do they want? What do you guys want? You want Chipotle? You want Netflix? You want Stranger Things? Hey, we'll give it to you. Just give us your oil. Review Osmond Gold. He has some okay takes. A lot of viewers. Yeah, I like to review him, actually. You know, it's me and Tony's dream that he reviews something we make. I thought he would review the Netflix thing, but apparently we didn't attack him enough. He likes himself a lot. So if you animate him doing something crazy, which I'm going to do, he'll play it. You know what? Let's do a thing. Let's do this. I'm going to try to get Asmund Gold to respond to something I make by Friday. Is that fun? Are we having fun? That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'll win. You'll see. Capitalism app. What do you guys give me if I can do that by Friday? Anybody swearing in? $100, $200 gift? What are we talking here? What's my reward? Who's going to put it out right now for everyone to see in the chat? What are you going to give me if I can get Asmund Gold to respond to something I make by Friday? What do I get? McDonald's? Chipotle? Snarfs. Speaking of food, I'm getting fat. I need to head right back to the gym. Right on Monday, I must get back to it. I'm such a fat. Such a fat fuck. Capitalism absent shared epistemology is kind of the same as liberty absent epistemology. I would say teleology. I would probably switch that. I would say capitalism without teleology and sort of meta-ethics, the thing that's guiding, those go hand in hand because the direction you're going in would be informed by a meta-ethical view. So I think that works. Obviously, it includes, you can't separate the pillars of philosophy, but I think it's clearer to say teleology, like where are we heading? What kind of thing are we after here? Where are we taking this pure capitalism, unbridled capitalism? Where are we taking it? Personally, I support the endeavor in Venezuela. Too many friends lost to drugs. Yeah, I'm fine with all of it. Like I said, Damien, I already submitted to world domination, American world domination. I'm going to actually start propagandizing that again. American world domination. How about it? The reward is Asmon responding. That's not it, Angel. No. That's not how this works. No. I want stuff. I want things and stuff from you. Okay? I want stuff, and I want things, and I want stuff from you with other things. Don't mess with me. All right. So let's see what he's up to, by the way.
Maduro? Yeah, we actually got him. They probably went to and from Venezuela to get Maduro faster than it's taken you to get an Amazon delivery. I want y'all to think about that. Like, if you want to order, like, a new pack of underwear off of Amazon, it's going to take you longer. The logistics of this are going to take you longer than Donald Trump and the military took to go and literally capture the head of a foreign state and then bring him back. Don't listen to, again, the fat retard communists in America that are mad about this. Listen to the actual Venezuelans. They're happy.
By the way, if you swapped Maduro with Bibi, I bet you interview the Israelis, and it might be very similar.
In this country when I was 10 years old, and ever since I was born, every single person in power of the country has abused us and abused of their power.
If you want to get noticed by Asman, he's hard on Somali fraudsters. Iran civil war. You know what I can do? Maybe I'll animate him interacting with a Somali fraudster. Maybe that'll do it. Thank you for that, Albert Smith. Albert Smith, pretty good Yelp reviewer here. At least a generous one. At least when he critiques me, he pays money. So can't hate him for that.
Power. We have been living in a dictatorship for about 20 years. So I can tell you, this
lesbian
feels like a breath of fresh air.
Guys, don't listen to her.
That was AI anyway.
There's a fat, gender-confused communist on Twitter that lives in Massachusetts that actually thinks this is a bad thing. No, don't listen to any of these Venezuelans.
Well, this is actually a very long video. 52 minutes from Asmund. Asmum. Oh, Asmum.
No.
Lesbian!
No, we have to go listen to somebody who doesn't even know what they are.
Yeah.
We have to go listen to somebody who's attracted to animals. Yeah, I wonder, how's iDubbbz doing? Somebody check on iDubbbz? This is going to be Iraq 2.0, bro? Just.
Thing is, do I animate him in his setting, which he belongs in his cockroach-infested room? Or do I animate him out there in the world? I got to think about this. Because I really want to animate him having an interaction with a Somalian. So what do you guys think? Maybe it's both. Maybe the animation is Asman is about to tell the story, and he's in this current position, and then it flashes so that he tells the story, and then I actually animate the story. That's what it is. Thank you. Thank you for being a mirror. Thank you for being a sounding board.
Just like Iran was.
God bless you, Chase.
No, you don't understand. Iraq went exactly the way it was supposed to. Syria went exactly the way that it was supposed to. Afghanistan went exactly the way that it was supposed to. Libya went. It
has to be in his roach home. Yeah, and I'll actually have roaches maybe in there too. This will be cool. This will be fun for me.
Exactly the way that it was supposed.
Albert says, for $5, brother, you and Jay Dyer have been a super positive boon in my EO journey. No hate, just having a laugh at you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
To. You think that we made a mistake by being.
This guy makes $500,000 a month for giving. Yeah, well, he does represent the West, though. So to be fair, he is the general reflection of a massive demographic. So, what I learned, Alchemist, is maybe do dumber takes. I mean, that sounds so arrogant to say, but I'm trying to do dumber takes. I just can't do it. Oh, guys, I'm trying. I try. It's like a singer being like, I tried to sing off key. I just tried. I just couldn't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't seem to do it. It's like incompatible with my nature. I can do it. You have to become the roach.
There for 20 years. That's not a bug. That's a feature. And what's it a feature of? The military industrial.
He's the normie of all normies. I know. You know what I mean? He earned it. He earned it.
Industrial complex. Do you really think we couldn't figure this shit out in 20 years? Really? You really think that we couldn't do this in 20 years?
Blood Logo says, I've heard some pretty dumb ones in the last few. Well, not enough, apparently. I don't see $500,000 in my account. Not enough.
After Desert Storm lasts for 3 days, the first one.
I actually think Asmongold is super boring. Like, it's just like, I don't get it. Like, is it the eyebrows? Like you said, it's just the normie. I'm just bored. It takes a lot to stimulate my mind. It takes a lot for me. Like, I'm already bored of this. I'm already bored. I have to say goodbye to him already. I'm bored. Bored to shit. Done. I'm over it. I'll just animate him. You know what I mean? Forget it. He's trash. I'm done with him. Game Caller says, Ortho Bros need to learn how to form coalitions, mainly the ones here. Yeah. I mean, I like coalitions. I just think that coalitions, in the end, they have a shelf life, and you have to be open about that. I talked about this before, Game Caller. Like, let's say you form a coalition with, like, proddy people against, like, rainbow shit. Great. High five. You know, get together, push policies, reverse policies, whatever it is. You know, this is good. But you just can't pretend like they are a part of your church. You can't, like, give them the illusion that they are. That's all. And at some point, someone needs to come in and plant their flag. Like I say, the analogy constantly is, if you team up with Muslims to climb a hill and kick out all the enemies, you're going to have to decide who puts the flag down at the top of the hill. And guess what? Muslims already decided. Muslims already decided. Should probably start streaming on Twitch. On a paycheck, I'd probably get kicked off. Is it still woke over there at Twitch? I've never even considered it. Are there, like, based right-wingers on Twitch who watch that? I don't think so. I mean, it could be wrong. I'll go on Twitch right now. The guy who only... Look, I could start a thing on Twitch. The guy who only streams in black and white with a black background, you know? And I'll just wear, like, glasses, like ski goggles. You got to do something stupid like that. You wear ski goggles only. Oh, the ski goggle guy. Oh, the guy who has a toothbrush in his mouth the whole time. Shh, 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 shh. I was actually listening to him more while you guys don't listen to him, and I was like, man, no, it really is. I'm bored. Totally bored. That's a me thing. That's a me problem, though. I'm easily bored. Old time. You know what I should do? I should do black. I should get a suit. I should get one of those old microphones, you know, the old style ones. Part my hair, super slick part, or back, you know. Do the old Asman and Leaflet stream on Twitch. Leaflet? Man, I'm a boomer. Dude, I'm out of it. I'm totally out of it. I did clean my room. Then my neighbor tried to break into my house, stab me, and then you went to jail for defending yourself. Yep. People on Twitch consider Asman their far-right extremists. Yeah, see what I'm saying? I wouldn't make it a week. They'd shut me right down. All right. Let's try to find one more thing here that's not so boring. I'm having trouble, though. Anybody? Suggestions? I'm having some trouble here. Nothing's interesting. Okay, Andrew's debating at 7. That's in 45 minutes. You know. What's his name? What is this guy up to? Have you guys been watching Anomaly? I don't know what. He just fell off my radar. Anomaly. What's he up to these days? You guys still follow him? Anybody out there? Huh. Standing for Truth debate. Interesting. Wait, so many debates. Lots of debates. See, nothing interesting though. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, this is death. Street beefs? That sounds funny. Is that a hot dog stand? Street beefs? Standing for Truth. Who's this guy? This guy refused to debate me. This guy. On his own prompt.
That is true. It's demonic,
but it's
isn't
good.
It? I would have to assume.
I loved it when I watched it every Passover when I was a Christian.
Oh shit. Okay. Zen or Thran, good to see.
Did I narrate a book in my impressions? I could probably do that.
Your friend, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says Jesus quoting.
You know, I should do a paywall thing where Tucker Carlson reads some sort of children's book or something, and he just loses it. It's like insane. It's like he just laughs. He just loses it. He doesn't even finish the book.
Psalm 22 is him being a theater kid. I agree. It's not prophetic. He just knew how to milk the moment.
Oh man, I'm just getting AIDS. I just keep giving myself and you guys AIDS over and over again. I don't know what to do. I feel like I feel like I'm just. The internet died. Sometimes it just dies. The internet dies for like a day or two, a week. I think it's dead. I even tried to get, I told you guys the other day, I was like, I'm going to turn my phone off. I was back in an hour debating someone on X. I was yelling at somebody. You know what I mean? Not even close. Didn't stand a chance. All right. Well, I mean, I might as well let you guys go then. Screw it. It's 6:18 for me. There's a debate soon. Maybe hang out with my wife. I mean, what else is there? Nothing. Nobody. Andrew reading Green Eggs and Ham would be funny. You know what I should do? I have a book that's really creepy called The Dream Book by Dr. Seuss. It's very strange. It's like actually very appropriate to today. It's a weird, somehow it's a commentary that the symbol, the euphemism somehow carries through today, and I don't know how Dr. Seuss knew that then. Very strange. The whole Dr. Seuss thing is bizarre because he has ties to something called I think it's called the Keck Institute, which is weird because the Keck Institute is trying to like figure out the secret of dreams and the mind and inside the brain and all that. They study it and stuff. And it's just weird that Dr. Seuss is associated to the Keck Institute. And that book is very much seemingly a direct commentary on their research. It's really strange truthery stuff. Did you see the 2 AI debates God existence? No, I didn't see that at all. So, can you review Tupac interview when he was 17? Maybe. That's a really weird request. Wow, he's so flamboyant, isn't he? I want to dance. He was like the black Michael Knowles. He actually kind of looks like Michael Knowles. Doesn't he? Look at that frosted hair, bro.
Somebody will enjoy it either.
I want to dance. I want to dance.
Anytime. Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tamalpais High School, and I'm 17 years old.
That's a guy who's raised by 3 women.
Do you like being 17?
Do you like being 17? Weird. This has really creepy vibes. Thank you, Austin from Australia. Appreciate you.
It's like 17 is such a weird age. It's such a...
Okay, Black Michael Knowles.
In the middle age. You're not 18 yet, and you're older than 16. So. But I like it. It's nice. It's like a learning stage for me.
Do you wish you could be 18 and when you get some more rights?
Well, 18 will bring lots of responsibilities that I don't want, but it'll bring respect that I feel like...
So... Who's the truth? Who's going to do the truth or drop on this? Someone's got to do it. It's bizarre. This is before fame, right? So like what's going on at 17 where he's getting interviewed to begin with? Like he didn't drop any albums, right? Like what's going on? Is this a school project? Is this like some weird? What is this?
That's the only way I can get it. You know, I try to be as mature as I can be and demand it wherever I can get it. But
so gay.
18 is like. You're an adult. You like today when I had to sign the release form, I felt so bad because I couldn't sign it myself. I had to go and get my mother's and all that. But 18 it's just society's way of saying that you're ready. But 17, like I think I'm ready now, as ready as I'm gonna be in this world. But so it's okay. I guess 17 is alright.
Do you think that you should be given more responsibilities? Or that you have much more value than adults place on you because of your age?
Well, the way that my mother brought me up is...
Yeah, your mother definitely brought you up.
No lies, no, total truth. Everything is real in society, everything is something...
He's an actor, right? Like what is this, an audition tape?
Something's going on wrong.
Did he just audition to be a hardcore rapper?
And how is it, I know.
Is this CIA documents?
Everything, so it was like I was given the responsibility before I wanted it. And so now
Dude looks like Blackular.
I can't really differentiate what great...
You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, honey.
Great response.
I was thinking about being a hardcore gangster rapper. What do you think about that? It's my dream. My mom always raised me to be like a, well-spoken. I was thinking of growing up to be an absolute gangster rapper, gunshots and all.
Because I've had it for so long, so she taught me how to be ready for it. And so that's good, and I think it's good because
Ooh.
I know that, and it's taught me that when you get out there, the responsibility is staggering.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
I'm ready.
You can't unsee Black Michael Knowles, seriously.
I'm going to be a little more ready than someone who's grown up in Disney World, with Santa Claus is coming. And so, I think I'm growing up good, as in all sense of the word. I think I'm growing up and learning about responsibilities and everything.
Dude, I don't understand. Excuse my language, but how did he go from this to fuck your bitch and your clicky clack? Like, what happened? A training camp? What did he go to, ghetto training camp? What the hell happened? What camp did he go to?
What do you think's the hardest thing about being a kid or being your age?
The hardest thing about being my age is...
This is clavicular.
Proving to society that I understand what's going on. Like, not everybody, but frequently, teenagers are stereotyped in being loud music loving.
It was a character, right? Was Diddy older than Tupac?
Girl chasing, car.
Weird, dude.
Car wanting.
What is he doing? What is happening here?
Not caring about the world.
I just can't wait to buy my own first new pair of boots.
cokeheads, drinking coke and smoking and being drug addicts.
What?
And I mean, in some ways we are. I mean, I chase girls and want.
No, you don't. Would you like to say that again and see if anyone's convinced? I chase girls in the mall at Sephora.
Not caring about the world.
Oh, honey, I've been chasing girls since I've been a little. You ain't, dude. You're chasing girls into the locker room and not to look at them naked. You're chasing girls to see what place they're going to shop, maybe.
Cokeheads, drinking coke and smoking and being drug addicts.
Freaking guy never chased a girl.
And I mean, in some ways we are. I mean, I chase girls and.
No, you don't.
Want the car and loud music, but I like to think of myself as really being socially aware, and not just socially aware as
Freddie Mercury was less gay than this guy.
as being trendy.
Yeah. Michael Jackson was way less gay than Tupac.
Being peace, not that. I really think that that teenagers, they got a lot of responsibilities and a lot of burden. No secret, but the world is in bad shape. So we have to do a lot. We have to do a lot of good things. So I think
beef with Biggie was a lover's quarrel. Could be.
We deserve it.
That's so creeped out, man. I'm so creeped out by the whole industry. And by the way, it didn't start with rap. This stuff gets so dark. You go back to like Motown era and even before, where people, the jazz era. It was always degenerate, but there was always some weird lingering darkness to it. Really dark stuff. Like, have you guys ever heard of the death clause? You guys ever hear of the death clause? Let's do some truthering. As EBT would call it, live truthering. Check this out. Following content. Oh, God, could you stop? Just stop it. The following content might make you squeamish and...
En mi trabajo semester. And considering that the average person spends about 4.8 hours a day on their phone, there's really no reason to think that learning a new language is out of reach anymore. So instead of trying to take on
Houston inside her hotel room bathtub.
Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson...
The entertainment, especially the music industry. But this is like something that's kind of well known, and nobody still to this day talks about it in a meaningful way. Really bizarre stuff with this death clause.
Has died.
I don't think many people at first glance would regard being a popular musician to be particularly deadly, but looking at the data, we see something rather peculiar. According to a study conducted by the University of Sydney, which sampled 13,000 different artists across 7 decades, it was noted that a popular musician's life expectancy was up to 25 years shorter comparable to the general population.
Now let's just take basic, not causal, but like let's establish potential causes, right? So without going full truth or tard, yes, younger people are more likely to be famous. So younger people also make terrible decisions. So like just because you launch someone into fame, you actually probably exacerbate or increase the chances of them doing something stupid because now they have access to everything. That kind of makes sense, right? But this documentary called the Death Clause, it takes that into consideration, but it actually points to something that's incentivized insofar as the death of a famous person.
Furthermore, accidental death rates were between 5 and 10 times greater, suicide rates were between 2 and 7 times greater, and homicide rates were up to 8 times greater. The study suggests an average life expectancy for musicians that are male to be in the late 50s and women in the early 60s. At first glance, these numbers are hard to contextualize, so let me give you something to compare it to. This is the same life expectancy you'd expect to see for a police officer in Buffalo, which has been labeled the most dangerous city in New York. Or if we're talking about the 90s, a male musician has a shorter life expectancy than a coal miner in China in the 1980s.
Wow.
These numbers make it clear as day that the true price of fame in the music industry is up to 25 years off your life. But that's not to say that fame is this deadly across the board. In another study that sampled 1,000 different notable people from 2009 to 2011 from all professions, they found that those notable for their work in business, politics, or military generally lived longer than the national average, while writers, performers, and other creative types were only noted to have their lives shortened by a year. So what is going on with the music industry in particular? While we've established that the music industry is particularly deadly, the vast majority of the literature on the phenomena seems to isolate this to just one or two things, such as the added stresses from fame or the ease of access to substance, or that creative types tend to be more predisposed to mental illness. While there's no denying that these factors definitely play a role in this phenomena, perhaps there's a bit more to the story.
I think so.
While much of the formal research on this topic scrutinizes what is wrong with the artist as an individual, perhaps it's better in this case to focus on what is going on within the industry as a whole.
Now, keep in mind, the industry, whether it's acting or music, has always, Michael Jackson, pointed to younger people, right? If you look at, even if you go back further, look at like Shirley Temple and the kind of weird shit that Hollywood was doing, some people think like the whole pedo thing is like new. No, it's just more in your face now a little bit, but it was there. They have some sick movies that they used kids for in Hollywood. That was totally accepted at the time, by the way. It was like, oh, it's cute. Let's use really adult, disgusting themes and include like 5-year-old children doing them. It's cute. Jews.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
But now you look at like the Disney machine, right? I mean, they churn these people out, right? They produce them from a young age. They make them overnight sensations. They increase their income and their value, their market share, and the rest. And what happens is this death clause comes in, and they basically incentivize their death. Why? Because, well, it makes sense. You die younger, your value maintains, and not only maintains, but in this case, the monetary increase of value for a popular person to die, especially younger. Some of the numbers are 100 times the value. And we're talking about a famous person dying at the peak of their value. That the value increase is, in some cases, 100 times. And guess where it goes? It goes to the production studios. It goes to the producer.
Because if you shift focus away from the individual to the industry, and you pause for a moment to think about the financial incentives of the music world, you'll notice something incredibly concerning. Music is one of the few industries on the planet where someone's work is worth significantly more to a company after their passing. Generations are remembered by the art that they leave behind, and the easiest way to be remembered is to be hailed as a legend from that time.
Yeah, but it's like contrived martyrdom.
Period. A premature death can
musical martyr.
Take an artist from a good artist to a legend, which can in some cases solidify an artist's recording catalog to be a cash cow for decades to come. Think about this for a moment. When an artist signs his name on the dotted line to a record company, the record company will in many cases own all of the masters for the songs recorded under that contract. And when an artist signs to a major label, it's safe to say that their death is in many ways factored into the initial investment. And in many ways, after an artist has peaked in popularity, there becomes an awkward point in their career where the artist is worth more to them dead than alive.
Not a big mystery, right? So this is Truth Ring, but it's like, no, he's not just pointing out something that, like, I don't know, Ian Carroll can point out. There's an actual documentation that like necessitate, like that basically says like it's better. They're like explicit. Like if you die, we're good. You know. Have you ever thought about dying? You ever want to die? Here's some drugs. Same with Elvis and his manager. Yeah, that's all the same structure. I mean, what's really bizarre is that some of the whistleblowers about this stuff come out of the Nirvana camp where they were there to see all of this, and they saw the advocacy of more drugs, more destructive behavior at the peak of Kurt Cobain, his current market value he had.
mad at him due to the business that he did.
Yeah.
And I can't even say mad is that they didn't have a part of it. Let's be real. I'm gonna say it out there straight for everybody listening. My uncle didn't die. He was murdered. I feel the same thing about Prince. We're losing a lot of stars because you have to remember, these are basically insurance policies. When he dies, whatever was owned by the company reverts back. We're not talking about $100,000. We're not talking about $1 million. We're talking about billions of dollars. Notice that when my uncle dies, why do you hear all his music? Why is there a Motown cartoon out now? Okay, well, obviously when my uncle was alive, he wasn't giving the rights to anybody. But when he dies, all of a sudden,
and it kind of makes you think specifically about Michael Jackson. That case went super viral and hit the mainstream media, which really sours a case. A lot of times sends it in different directions away from justice, honestly, away from the truth, because it gets so mutilated mucked up in the media. But if you think about it really clearly, and a lot of people internally thought this. They thought, well, no, there's a lot to gain here. There's a lot to gain here. And the way in which Michael Jackson died was definitely strange, with that doctor, that intimate relationship with the doctor. Dude, to me, that's super dark stuff. And I don't think that has ever been figured out.
It's pretty incredible to me that all of us have kind of heard this anecdote about musicians dying at a young age, but every time this happens, nobody casts an ounce of skepticism about this kind of thing, or how much these people are worth dead. That, in my opinion, is the true dark side of the music industry. And it seriously does not help that social media in the modern day has made artists' deaths even more lucrative. As one Nielsen executive had stated in 2016, if Earth, Wind & Fire's Maurice White passed away 10 years ago, you might have read about it in a paper and then waited until there was a store open, he said. Now the news cycle travels extremely fast, and you get more awareness. The instant gratification is there.
Yeah, the Beatles catalog included, right.
You can buy it or stream it, and it magnifies the consumption. Now, instant gratification is definitely an interesting word choice from this Nielsen executive.
Looks like he was completely set up with the P stuff. It could be both, though, honestly. If you look at Michael Jackson, I mean, he was clearly exposed to some things he probably shouldn't have been when he was a young little cute boy, in that industry. Wild stuff going on there. Who the hell knows? But I think Michael Jackson was probably likely abused. And I think maybe he tried to sort of like mimic that behavior to some extent. Or maybe he was like trapped. A lot of times when people are abused when they're young, they're sort of frozen at that age, which kind of explains Michael Jackson, how he talks. This happens with women too, They talk like little kids, and they're little kids. I don't know. And probably some really dark stuff that we'll never even know about.
Especially considering some of his other comments in the same article. This was different from other years, Dave Bakula, Nielsen Senior Vice President of Industry Insights, told the Post. The news cycle is very...
It started when the Oy Veys started entering the entertainment industry. I think they were just always there, man. I think the Oy Veys were always like, look, sing and dance. It's healthy. You sing and dance. Tell a story. Come over here.
Viral. I've never seen...
Why don't you drop your pants?
...a year like this before. The number of big-name artists passing away. The music industry is getting an extra boost from the celebration, he added. Notice that the author of the article...
He actually called out the Oy Veys. Remember that song? He literally... highlighted the Jews in a song.
Article here had to add this for context, but obviously I am nitpicking a bit. All of you probably know what this executive is talking about. Whenever an artist passes away, everyone comes out to show their respects on social media, and this effect has an uncanny ability to run up sales numbers. While in recent history it's been labeled the Prince effect, we have known for quite some time that an artist passing can be lucrative. But just how lucrative it is, we are just now getting to measure the effects more closely in the modern day. One paper titled Music, Death, and Profits lays this all out for us. Notably, this was the first study of its kind to show the long-term effects of this phenomenon. In their study that monitored 81 artists who passed away from 2015 to 2017, they found something pretty disturbing. Our findings show that a rate of sales does not return to pre-death levels, but instead is in most instances persistently higher even several years after the death shock occurs. Album sales leapt a staggering 226% on average, just on the day the artist died, and they doubled overall on average for the first 100 days. For bigger artists like Prince, the effect was even more pronounced, as he saw a 16,000% increase.
16,000%.
while other large artists saw very staggering numbers as well. Furthermore, looking at the album sales for other rappers who have died young, we see that almost all of them see commercial success they never saw in their own lifetime.
I mean, this is like true. It's not like a huge thing. It's like this would be still true of like an artist who's not a singer, who doesn't have a death clause. But it's not that, though. We know that's the phenomenon. That's just true. That's just economics, too. So it's not like this big like reveal. But the reveal part is that there's like the documentation when you sign up. It's the incentive of it that's clear and explicit. It's not that the fact that this happened. This would happen regardless if there was contracts. This would happen.
As if the financial incentives weren't already way too far in the wrong direction, this actually gets a hell of a lot worse. Because there's a clause in record contracts that allows record labels to cash in even more after an artist's passing. This has been going on since the early days of the music industry, and it's quite literally a standard practice. It's called the death clause, or the non-performance clause. Now, this is one of those lesser-known details in regards to record contracts, but the former manager of the Grateful Dead, Hank Harrison, wrote about this some years back. Essentially, it goes something like this. Companies shall have the right to secure insurance equivalent to 10 times the estimated value of the artist's earnings from any source of revenue for company's sole benefit. Companies shall be allowed to employ any insurance carrier or combination of the same to assure this benefit and need not consult or require signature
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
compliance from the artist. Company shall keep such information confidential, except that the company may disclose information to the applicable insurance carriers or as required by law. Artist or artist's estate shall have no right to review or claim the benefit of any such policy obtained by the company. And to quote what Hank Harrison later wrote in this article, he states, "In short, here is what a death clause does in my humble opinion. If an artist fails to perform or pay back advances, the artist becomes more profitable dead."
Sick, man. Isn't that so sick? What a weird. I mean, this is why it's like so easy to sort of transpose the narrative of like deal with the devil into this specific industry. Like in the event, and it's also very common where artists are forwarded a bunch of money for a deal. They think they've made it. They spend all their money. They make bad decisions. The album comes out 5 years later. They realize they're not only broke, but they're actually further in debt. And like the economic hitman, this is kind of funny, apropos, like the economic hitman, that what we do to some nations, the record label can do with artists. Oh, you're in debt? Oh, don't worry. There's a way your family will be okay. There's a way your family could be okay. Are you willing to pay the price to make your family okay? We'll take real good care of them. I promise. Well, you know me. We've known each other for how long? I don't know either. We're going to take care of your family. You just have to die.
Today, the hit clause still exists, but it is more subtle, and whereas it used to be worth thousands, it's now potentially worth billions.
Justin Bieber, yeah, I think they're attacking him too. I think there's massive behind-the-scenes campaign to get him on some heavy substance, get him in, a little high-pressure stakes game.
Labels invest millions in new talent, and the insurance policy is a protection against loss or a way of collecting projected profits from music, t-shirts, books, foreign rights, and everything else in all forms. Now, I want to clarify one thing here about the death clause. And it's that this type of life insurance, also known as key man insurance, is actually a standard practice in other industries as well. And depending on how you look at this, it's honestly just a smart business move given how...
It is a smart business move, but it's disgusting. I'd like to see if the trend is different if the artists measured our small hats. Yeah, I actually wonder about that too, Ja, because there's a fair amount of small hat performers who don't have small hat names, change their small hat names to something catchy.
How much money they invested into them in the first place. But normally when an employee dies in other industries, there's...
Oh, hey, thanks, Vagine. Thank you for sending money from India to me.
There's a pretty significant loss of revenue, and this insurance is designed to make it so the company can stay afloat until they find a replacement. But in the music industry, this is just them double dipping. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, record deals are...
What if they killed Skynyrd? It could be. It could be. Now, small planes do go down more than big planes. It's like It's definitely a good route if it was mechanical issue, forced mechanical issue maybe.
Structured like a loan, also known as an advance. A certain amount the artist gets to keep for living expenses, and the rest will usually get poured into the cost of making an album as well as marketing it. While the specifics will vary from deal to deal, the premise is pretty much the same.
Do I know the backstory with Justin's wife? I mean, I know she's just the child of one of the famous brothers, but not fully, no. I know she's... all those people, like, they don't have a good chance at all. You're the son, daughter of a super famous person being raised in that world. Oh man, Lord have mercy.
Across the board. Only after the label is paid back in full will the artist receive any royalties on the music recorded during that time. And assuming all goes well with the contract, the process will repeat with a new contract.
Yeah, Buddy Holly. It makes you wonder. Now, I think it's a different schema going on, but the whole list of dead people around Hillary Clinton is kind of interesting. Now, your truther brain just says, well, they have to be killed because they know too much, right? That's the easy way to do it. But what if there was more involved also, similarly? Where it's like these people all had like some sort of like asset system. The death of the subject, maybe, I don't know. That could be the case too in that dark world. I'm not sure how it would work, but interesting thought.
Contract and new debt. If they don't succeed, though, or paying back the label is taking too long, or the artist is trying to get out of the deal, then the death clause conveniently helps the label collect.
Yeah.
What's more, as bad of a reputation as record labels may have, they aren't the only ones with perverse incentives. The artist also has to consider that his own loved ones might be out to get him as well, presuming any family members may be included in their will. And if that wasn't bad enough, it has become a far more common practice for artists nowadays to sell parts of their recording catalog on brokerage sites like Royalty Exchange. And I'm just going to flat out say this right now, it's only a matter of time before something bad happens with one of these Royalty Exchange platforms. As one article from MarketWatch stated, buy some of the rights to a rock star's music and you're likely to see a big bump in your royalties if he or she dies suddenly. It creates some awkward incentives.
It's literally like mutual funds for death. It's crazy. It's like buying stock with the incentive of death as the stock. Now, think about that. If someone has stock, it's like, I mean, there's so many, like, aside from murder, direct murder, think of all the ways that you could at least increase the chances of death and have it kind of legal. You could probably orchestrate at least like a decent set of conditions for that to at least even be an option. It could be.
Don't be surprised if this turns up as
it is demonic, Austin.
a plot to a Hollywood thriller sometime soon. So yeah, nowadays basically an artist has to worry about literally anyone and everyone potentially having a price on their head.
Yeah, dude. It's like what was that old show? Like, who are those people that go out and bring back the carcass of someone? Not a headhunter, bounty hunter. It's like bounty hunter, except it's people. It's like I need Jackson dead by Monday. Dark.
Now
you watch out, Tony. That's why I tell Tony, man. He's my buddy. Tony, you take off too quickly with your music. Hello, listener. You gotta watch it, man. I could see you just ignorantly signing one of these death clauses.
Now that you're aware of what a death clause is, I think it's important that I give you a textbook example of this so you can see how this usually plays out. And just know for now, while we will discuss many other mysterious deaths in the music industry later on in this video, for now I'd like to draw your attention to the story of Bobby Fuller. After Fuller moved to LA in 1964, he was signed to a record label by the name of Del-Fi Records, owned by producer Bob Keane. Keane was also the band's manager, and given the fact that it was called the Bobby Fuller 4, Bobby was the frontman. Shortly after the band had scored several hits like their cover of I Fought the Law, on July 18, 1966, Bobby's success in the music industry would be cut short. After receiving a mysterious phone call in the early hours of the morning, Bobby was believed to have left his Los Angeles apartment at 3 a.m. Before Bobby left, his road manager had been half asleep watching TV in the living room. He vaguely remembered that Bobby might have been going to see a girl named Melody that night. After heading out from the apartment, he took his mother's Oldsmobile, and he would set off into the night. As the day turned to morning, Bobby failed to meet up with the other members of his band for rehearsal later that day. Around 5 p.m., a couple other visiting musicians had come to see Bobby at his apartment. They claimed that when they were driving up, Bobby's mother's car was not there. Bobby's mother, Lorraine, also noted this. She had been keeping an eye out all day for Bobby to come home. After the two visitors came into Bobby's apartment, Bobby's mom then went to go get the mail. To her surprise, the car was there. Upon closer inspection, she found Bobby lifeless inside of the car. He was found lying across the seat, where the entire car reeked of the smell of gasoline. There was a 2.5-gallon gas can found below the driver's seat, and a gas hose was also found nearby. Upon discovering Bobby in this state, Lorraine called the police. And when they arrived, they took a quick look at the body, and they ruled that Bobby had taken his own life from drinking gasoline.
Yeah, see? Yeah, that's what you do. You just drink gasoline. You know what I mean? That's the way. That's the ticket.
The authorities quickly discarded the gas can and...
Yeah, I'm just going to drink gasoline. You know, I had enough of this. You know, it's time. I want to say goodbye. All of this success. You know what I mean? Just going to guzzle gasoline.
Called it a day. The car was never dusted for prints.
Shot.
Interview anybody, and all in all, it was an open and shut case. Later, it would be revealed through the autopsy that there was no gasoline found in Bobby's stomach, where the coroner later stated that Bobby had died due to inhalation of gasoline fumes, classifying Bobby's death instead as an accident, a finding that nobody...
Yeah, Bobby just playing around with the gasoline in the front seat, you know. Maybe he was trying to fill up the tank that's not inside the car. Oh, what is this? This smells funny. Maybe I should stay here. Whoops, I died. Unbelievable.
Not least his own mother and family agreed. Multiple witnesses noted that it appeared that Bobby had been beaten up badly and had a broken finger.
He did it himself.
There was blood found on his shirt and face. Multiple witnesses, including Lorraine, also made the comment that it looked like he had been dragged on the ground, and his body showed various scrapes and injuries. The coroner claims that they were mistaken. He claimed he found no bruises, no broken bones, and no cuts.
That also is a big deal here, right? Because, like, I don't know about in this case, he might get to it, but have you ever noticed when there's big deaths that there are sort of like pseudo-famous coroners that are the go-to? You know, Epstein. Who was the other guy? The same guy that looked at Epstein looked at the other dude. So the coroners are sort of a key feature here. You pay some coroners, not only coroners. Who was the dude? Anesthesiologists. You get them in on your scheme, man. They are useful. Toxicologists, coroners, anesthesiologists.
Or evidence of a beating. Instead stating, body in full rigor, skin slip due to high temperature in car. Bobby's body had been found in a full...
The two towers fell down to their footprint because of the fires. They were too hot.
State of rigor mortis, meaning that he had been dead for some time. Considering that the car hadn't been in the lot for more than 15 minutes, this quite literally made it impossible that he could have driven up on his own. Given the sheer amount of gasoline found in the car, it appeared that someone had been just moments away from setting it ablaze. According to an article from Spin magazine, in 1983, Rick Stone reported that he was sure Bobby's head had been doused with gasoline. To this day,
didn't it look like Buddy Holly?
Jim Reese maintains that he saw a half-burned book of matches and a burn on the vinyl of the backseat of the car. Assuming the car failed to light, this meant that the persons responsible were lurking nearby. Rather interesting when you factor in that Bob Keane had just so happened to magically appear at the scene.
This is why I don't wish like fame or success on people, because these maggots will surround you and they will point you in the direction of your own demise.
Within moments.
The mom did it? Yeah, she was in on it.
Now, Bobby's story is essentially a cautionary tale of what can happen in the music industry. And to quote Rod Crosby, the lead singer for the band The Intruders, Bobby Fuller was vulnerable by virtue of his honesty and naivety. If he had been a streetwise, bitter person, maybe he would have survived. He lived on a high plane of idealism and fantasy. He was swept into the maelstrom of rock decadence and was a victim of a ruthless business. Essentially, Bobby had become worth more dead than alive behind the scenes. He had a life insurance policy taken out on him for about $850,000, while
wow, that's not even a lot, but maybe then it's a lot.
All the other members of the band had policies at around $100,000 each. In the days before his death,
I think maybe the mom did it.
the band was on the verge of breaking up.
Sorry, Mom.
One member was getting ready to return to his family after touring. Another member was likely to have been drafted into Vietnam. Infighting was rampant, leading to Bobby replacing one of the members, and the two musicians from earlier were new potential replacements for his current band.
Joan Rivers, is that another wild one, Sean? I haven't actually tackled this stuff too much. You know, people die and then you just kind of hear about it. It's like Anne Heche, remember? Just a bizarre kind of car act. Now, it could have been the case that she was just drunk and drove her car. Yeah, sure. But there's always just weirdness.
Essentially, Bobby Fuller had had enough of his management, between them failing to fulfill orders for his recent single, and the fact that Bob Keane had been micromanaging their sound, often making artistic decisions, which led to their worst financial failure, The Magic Touch, which in spite of heavy promotion through payola, it still was not a commercial success.
Boo.
But that wasn't the only financial problem going on behind the scenes. The label had wanted Bobby to continue touring. He decided to bail on that. Had Bobby walked away, the label would have presumably incurred a large financial loss between the recent failure of The Magic Touch and the tour that was cut short. But if he were to conveniently die in an accident, let's say a mysterious car fire, then the label could easily turn a profit.
Hidden interest.
Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So were there any ties to organized crime? Many sources on this subject bring up the silent partner in Bob Keane's business, a man by the name of Larry Nunes. Larry Nunes was essentially the man financing Fuller's career, and Nunes was the actual beneficiary who was set to cash in on Fuller's death. Now the key word here is silent partner. Organized crime is notorious for using frontmen for almost all of their business dealings, and to quote the Chicago Tribune, as the schemes got more complicated, mobsters needed the help of lawyers, politicians, and frontmen with relatively clean criminal records. It was a Faustian bargain. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term Faustian bargain, it essentially means a deal with the devil. Throughout history, there have been a number of Faustian bargains, but in present day, you'll notice that almost every person who claims this comes from the entertainment industry.
You're still out here doing these songs, you know, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes...
Man, did that beak start dripping off his nose? Let me tell you what.
It's back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Now, I should also let you know that Bob Dylan has quite literally been playing a never-ending tour since 1988, adhering to a heavy booking schedule of 100 shows a year. He crossed 3,000 shows in 2019, and despite him being 80 years old, his vocal performances becoming unpredictable, and him randomly changing the lyrics of his songs on a night-by-night basis to the point that they become unrecognizable, he's still touring. It sort of makes you wonder if there's something preventing him from retiring, especially given the fact that the overarching data on this industry shows that most musicians don't live to the age of retirement. But to be fair, perhaps
he got scammed out of the death thing. He escaped it, but now it's like you go to a Bob Dylan concert. Same thing with Willie Nelson. I actually went to a Willie Nelson concert, and it was the most incoherent thing. It was like he was just saying random words and then strumming his broken guitar whenever he wanted to. It was the weirdest thing.
He likes playing shows still, or perhaps he was saying this for publicity. And to be clear, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. There's definitely a lot of interpretation.
I am.
For this deal with the devil analogy. But all you need to know for now is the fact that at least one of these interpretations includes making a deal with the underworld. And going into this next section, I want to say that we will tie up the stories with Bob Keane and Larry Nunes and Bobby Fuller here in a bit. But for you to really see how the death clause fits into things, you need to understand the entanglements between organized crime and the music business. So we're going to explore a few of those, because Fuller's case is far from an isolated incident.
Had someone said bagel insurance yet? Happy New Year's. Said he's recently a Christian. Yeah, I don't know. To me, that's all meaningless at this point, to me.
Tonight, the first of 5 segment 3 reports on what we have chosen to call crime rock. There's a lot of corruption in the music business because there's a lot of money in the music business, in records, cassettes, and in live performances.
I think
that kind of money attracts all kinds of unsavory characters who don't know much about music, but do know a lot about,
the indentured servitude type of thing. Our first contract was 7 albums, essentially 14 years. So I signed that contract when I was 23.
That's crazy.
Okay, so I'm signing at 23 years old. I'm signing a contract that's supposed to take me into 37.
Dude, that's crazy. Think about that.
You're signing a contract for more than half your life.
And if you look at the shelf life of most artists, it's 4 to... So they're basically anticipating your entire arc.
That's so crazy.
So you don't have any leverage, you know, other than that they want to sign you.
Listen, look, the situation is really perfect because if you get a young kid to sign, you know, to get all the glory of the world, you know, and all the riches, makes a dumb move, and the amount of time that's predicted that they'll be successful is very short. So you go, well, why would a music industry do this? Well, because of this death clause, because this goes hand in hand. If someone's a mega star when they're 17 and they sign a deal that would take them to 37, but their shelf life of superstardom ends when they're 22, let's say, just hypothetically, they're stuck as an indentured servant until they're 37. Now, let's add in that they're not successful. Their life has gone to shambles. They're no longer in the limelight. They don't have all this other thing, all of this other worldly stuff to take them away from this, the fact that they're not successful anymore. So now they're stuck. So how do you get out of that? Well, maybe there's no way out. Maybe you feel like there's no way out. Well, I mean, what do people do when they feel like there's no way out? Well, the record industry loves that.
Oh, you feel like there's no way out? No, there's always a way out. We just have to have to help you with your way out, huh? Let us help you.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Let us help you get out of this.
Wow, how do I get out of it?
Well, there is a way, isn't there? There's always a way. Have you ever considered about taking yourself out?
You sign the deal, and then it becomes this weird dance of like, can I sustain success?
Yeah.
If you get success and you have leverage, they'll get out of your way because you're making them a lot of money. But the minute you're not making them as much money, then they step in and they start playing these Jedi mind tricks on you. We know what to do. You know, the public's going to forget about you. I mean, I've heard all these things. Like, you know, this kind of weird, like, yeah, you're in the room, but, you know, we're the arbiter of whether you can stay in the room.
That's the weird position that record companies had for a long time.
I mean, it's funny Joe Rogan saying this. He kind of modeled this, not to the extent of a death clause, but, you know, he became the kingmaker of comedy. And you know, when the, you know, who knows what's going on back there in the back rooms.
That they don't seem to have anymore.
I would argue against that because
they still do.
Well, they've moved to a different set of circumstances, and I'm not as conversant as I once was. But
I'm gonna start wearing all black. No more color. Meg Bob, you hear this? No more fancy shirts. No more colorful shirts. I'm going all black. Black sweaters, black jackets, everything. Okay? I'm making a change. I'm black maxing. That doesn't sound right. Noir maxing.
But one thing they do with...
I'm doing it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to go get a black turtleneck. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Certain younger artists, but I think particularly...
Who's with me? In fact, I'm going to change my whole format. I'm going to keep the black and white stream. I'm going to go all black, only black shirts from now on. I'm going to throw away everything. I'm doing it. I think it suits me, too. I think black and white suits me. You know what I mean? This suits me. I love when stuff like this happens. Yeah, Jim Bob Cash. It's got that feel. I think I'm really coming into my own. I think the black and white stream's great. Dude, I'm going for it. I think it's gonna be good. Jim Bob is dead. This is a recording stream. Yeah, I already hit my highest peak of market value. You know, my Wranglers are gonna, when I'm dead, I'm already dead if you're seeing this. So my Wranglers, oh man, they've walked away with a lot. We're talking about $35 a stream. Unbelievable.
Pop realm is they do these 360 deals where it's like,
right.
If you get a perfume deal, like your whole world,
they own you.
We own a piece of your whole world. And fame is such a great quotient in American life now that you can see where kids would trade fame and be willing to give away like the profit part.
Well, they'll.
Yeah. You see that? People want the fame, the notoriety, they want the clapping, and the ego, and the chicks, and the drugs, and all that. And then, what happens? What happens?
Take a risk.
Rim job? Don't call me that, dude. I'll fucking hunt you down. Okay? Don't be gross. Naturalism better explains reality. No, I didn't. No, I said, Zuko, that naturalism can't even justify an explanation. Zuko, there's no explanation in nature. You retard. There's literally no explanation in nature. That means naturalism, in explaining reality, there's nothing even called an explanation. Naturalism can't explain explanations, dude. Zuko, you want to call in? You sick little retard puppy. You're like a puppy with Down syndrome. Tell me the ontology of an explanation under naturalism. The chemicals. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Can we try extremely wide aspect ratio next stream? Your head shoulder should be 12 pixels tall. Oh, you mean like, hold on, let me see if I'm trying to get what you're saying here. I might steal Sam Hyde's whole thing. You know what I mean? Here, let me watch. Let's do some aesthetics right now. Okay, watch. Watch this. We're going to make everything so beautiful right now. Okay? You guys ready? You guys with me? All right, watch this. All right. Let's do some magic. I need to get that guitar from out of there because that's distracting. But watch. Ready? All right. Source, no. Image, color source. Here we go. We'll take, what does that have to be? White? Should it be white or like a gray? Maybe it's a gray. Yeah, maybe that's it. Okay, ready? Okay, we'll do this. All right, let's... About that, and now we'll copy and do a copy paste. Okay, paste, and then we'll bring this down here. I think white's not the right color. What color am I looking for? That's not it. Man, I don't know anymore. Maybe it's more of a gray. Let's make it a little more gray. Is that better? A little less on the eyes. Something like that. Purple? No, not purple. There we go. See? Now we're cooking. Red or black? Well, black doesn't work because it's black. We already have blood red. Okay, fine. Let's try blood red. Let's see. Really blood, deep, dark blood red. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, it's too crucible-y. Too much. It's too much. It's not. That's not it either. I think it's like some sort of gray, honestly. It's like a deep, dark, I don't even know, it's like a off, maybe it's just barely off gray. Something like that. Yeah, that's even better. That's already better. Maybe even darker. Maybe more like a Patrick Ewing gray. A little bit darker. Like Dominique Wilkins. There we go. That's even. Yeah, I'd say that's good. That's nice. That works. That looks. It's getting there. All right. Right? Where's Zuko? Dude. Where are you? Where are you? You are the scum of the earth. You're like demon bile. You're like a demon got sick and woke up and coughed up phlegm, and you came out of the mouth of the demon. Zuko, you hear me, Zuko? Center the logo at the bottom. Where is there a logo? What logo? Center the logo in the bottom square. Oh, you're talking about, it's already centered now, right? Wait, what logo? There's no logo. Are you guys hallucinating? Gray looked good. Noir. Wait, so lighter than this? Okay. Lighter, a little bit lighter. Okay. Here we go. There we go. That's good. The logos. You 100% of a logo. Insert A into slot C. Rob Noir. All right, anyway. Good. I think we figured this out. You guys are excited. I'm excited. Everything's going to be black and white for me from now on. That's my aesthetic. I'm going to get black clothing. I'm going to get black shirts, black tank tops, black cutoffs. So, I hope you're happy. It's going to make the music be cooler too. I mean, look at this. Now you don't have that red peeking through. It's just the guitar. You know what I mean? I'm going to do black face. It's great. It's great. I love black. Looks neat, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did I get banned? No, you're here, are we, man? How you doing? I still feel like that's a little off, though. That color needs to be a little bit lighter. Now it's distracting. Hold on. Actually, let me go even darker. Let me go just barely off. That's even better. Honestly, that's better. That's good. That's it. Now that's it. That's it. Now we got it. Look at how sharp that is. Okay. All right. We just basically solved everything about my live stream. So, damn. I'm proud. I'm pumped. Now we can add a little bit of a pretentious artistic flair. And now I'm ready to review politics. How much for you to do black metal corpse paint next stream? What is that? Send me a link. All right. I think I'm going to start shutting this down because I think, isn't there a debate right now that you guys have probably already left me for anyway? I have to watch Andrew now. I must. Okay. Here we go. How's it going over here? What are we doing?
Return for all homosexual males.
Gay.
No women, no trans people of any kind. And quickly, millions of gay men flocked to Gaylandia to form a fairy military brigade. And quickly,
Gaylandia?
Their nations recognized by the international community as a protected people group. And
Andrew should have done this with a gay lisp. He should have done his opening as a gay guy.
They even get their own huge lobbying groups. Now, by Brendan's definition, this state is 100% patriarchal. 100%. Definitionally, it's patriarchal. Can't be anything but patriarchal. Also, 100% of all relationships are same-sex, and even the family level, they're necessarily patriarchal. So in this case, is patriarchy bad for relationships? I'd love to know how. The whole society is necessarily patriarchal. If it's the case patriarchy itself is bad, he needs to tell me how it would be bad inherently. In this society, how could it be bad? What about the patriarchy specifically makes this society, something which should not be adhered to from his view? Not asking if states are bad here, mind you. I'm asking about the patriarchy of this particular state of Gaylandia.
I mean, I want to know how Brent Langle is going to defeat the patriarchy without using it. You know what I mean?
What makes patriarchy in this state make the state itself worse? If nothing, then what Brendan's actually admitting is that patriarchy itself isn't bad at all and is instead deferring to just female preference over men's when we adjust.
By the way, I have one goal up that has 15 minutes left. It's a red goal. So, yeah. I'm doing an aggressive, a very aggressive, shameless red grift.
To a two-sex society. That's the point of the hypothetical.
Red level grift, they call it.
If Brendan claims patriarchy itself in Gaylandia is bad, he needs...
Of course he has a hammer necklace. Oh my gosh, of course he does.
Needs to give a reason why it's inherently not good to have an all-male state formed by democratic choice. Brendan also needs to explain how patriarchy itself would be bad in these personal relationships of these men, since all of them would, by entailment, be patriarchal. So those are my questions to him, and I'm happy to repeat them. I understand that was a lot. But basically, why shouldn't Gaylandia be patriarchal, and why must it include women? Right? Like, why? Why can't it be patriarchal? Necessarily, it would have to be. Now, as to my affirmative case for why patriarchy is helpful to relationships themselves, in this case, it would be self-explanatory. Men and women have different characteristics.
Where do I recognize the Brent guy? Is he in like the sort of panel-versy thing? I feel like I've seen his face, but I'm not.
And men are on average.
Yeah, what happened to his beard?
Much stronger, and so able to.
His beard looked like it got chewed by goats.
Protect the weaker sex from physical.
Would you go to Floyd's and ask the people if they have goats that can chew on your beard?
Environmental threats in exchange for this protection.
Happening?
Certain amounts of authority need to be handed over to men so societal order can be maintained. Absent that, there is a breakdown of most forms of relationships between the two sexes, as the privilege leaves for the women and the authority leaves for the men, which leaves both sexes ultimately worse off. Absent authority, men can't enact their protection, and without that, women lose all forms of basic privilege. When asked if they want privilege, women say yes, and when asked if men want authority, they say yes. Isn't it funny how that works?
Dude, that beard is so fucked.
It's a simple social exchange.
I mean, that looks like one of, like... I mean, I'm sorry to say, he seems like a nice guy, but he looks like one of Rabbi Shmuley's balls.
Exchange, which has outlasted the written words of men. So what are these privileges that women get? Generally, they're lumped...
Dude, he looks like he's falling upwards.
...in with the infirm and children during times of crisis.
He looks like a fireball.
There's no expectation for war fighting or a draft. Increased amounts of resource allocation from males based around being the primary caretakers in the children's tender years when both the mother and child are both the most vulnerable. No expectation of bodily expendability, doing toil-based work for the purpose of resource.
He looks like a Pac-Man ghost.
Allocation. Reasonable expectations to be defended by males who are complete strangers during times of crisis or helped. Lesser expectations in most performance-based tasks.
Dude looked like someone copy and pasted his beard, but like had to shut down the computer early.
Expectations that husbands will put their lives in.
Like you need like 17 more layers of paste
in front of their wife's life. These are massive privileges, and women very much prefer to keep. And in exchange for that, they defer authority to men. That's how the exchange works. So when Brendan makes...
Dude, who cut your beard? An airplane propeller?
The claim, and that's my affirmative case, that patriarchy is bad for relationships, he would have to be conceding...
Would you get bit by a dog on your beard?
...that these privileges for women are just not necessary for women. Why should men cede any of these privileges to them if it's the case that men...
Would you spill a container of chemotherapy on part of your beard?
Don't get any authority from that. That makes no sense to me and never has. So I would like to start with the case for Gaylandia and critique his position, and then I'm happy to let you come over and critique mine. Does that sound fair, Brendan?
Well, it's Brenton first.
Brenton?
Brenton.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Poor... Brenton?
Yeah, that's all right. Everybody says Brendan or Brett like multiple times. So
that'd be like if my name was Jimp. What if... Dude, do we have any Brentons in the chat or?
No big deal.
One quick, I'm going to jump in really quick. as we jump into the open dialogue, folks, just a couple of housekeeping things. First, if you have not known about it, at the bottom right of your screen, you can see the poster for Debate Con 7. It's going to be in Houston, Texas.
James, I know.
I
don't think there should be a plug. They should do the plug after or before the intros, both intros, or after both intros. This really takes the energy out of it.
Don't want to miss it. Check
Brenta. Hey, is Brenta in the chat?
Tickets link in the description box. It's going to be a one-day conference, 4 debates. With that, we're going to jump into the open dialogue. There's going to be Q&A at the end. If you want to submit a question, you can tag me in the live chat. Otherwise, Super Chat goes at the top of the list.
Fair
Thank
enough.
You very much,
I thought he
gentlemen.
didn't do his
The floor
opener.
is all yours.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, so hang on. Let me
Get him,
start
Andrew.
with the
Get him,
critique,
Andrew.
and then I'll let you do your critique
Get
of the
him!
affirmative state.
Get him!
Okay, does that sound fair?
Yeah,
when we're talking about Gaylandia, I would like you to answer for me you agree that would be a 100% patriarchal society via the definition you gave.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because
here's
you're
the definition.
In your definition, you included that it's authority over children with property being passed down the male line.
No. It's not. These are not requirements. They must meet all those categories. Only that those categories would also fit as a
Brentonia
potential for a standalone category. So inside definitions, you have definition 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be or, not and.
Just a reminder, 8 minutes for someone extremely generous and aggressive. Perhaps you're drunk even. For a red super chat, for my one red super chat goal, which, by the way, will go, where will it go to? It's going to go to my all black wardrobe. So, if you guys are excited about that, now's your chance. Fund a great cause. Black maxing. Oh, sorry. Noir maxing. Who's going to do it?
Okay.
Give us a smile, Brendan. Brendan?
Personally, I don't
Give us
see
a
how
smile.
that would qualify as patriarchy, but let's just go with that. Let's say that it does.
Okay, well, hang on. I just want to make sure that we got this clear.
Sean says he's a bit drunk, not that drunk. Well, someone is.
You have
red super chat is $100.
The definition here. I'm just pulling it up. This one comes in: a system of power in which men hold the majority of political, economic, and social authority.
Jason Cassell wrote super chatted $200.
Especially with regard to fathers. How would Gaylandia not fit that criteria 100% for every single man, in fact?
Noir.
Is every single gay man a father?
There it is. Darth Jeff coming in, wants me in all black for black maxing. Noir maxing. Thank you, Jeff. No, I'm excited. I mean, I've been pondering my stream's aesthetic for so long. It's been just a constant battle. It really has. I can't believe I figured it out on a stream about what? Nothing. W's in the chat to Jeff. Thank you. Very generous, sir. And now I figured it out. It's black and white. And I will look best in black. You know? I'm very excited.
No. Above political, economic, social authority, especially with regard to fathers, but that's not necessary conditional.
Okay. Are most gay men a father?
No, it's not a necessary conditional.
That's a word concept fallacy. This is retarded.
Okay. My point being is that what we've got here essentially is a very quick straw man.
This is so stupid. I think the guy just argued that if you're not a father, you can't be a patriarch because the term patriarch would assume like fatherly or something like this. Wait, hold on a second. Are most gay people fathers? There you go.
I can't be straw manning a position. That's my position. I can't be doing that. So the thing is I'm asking.
The straw man, I'm talking about your gay Israel thing.
Dude, I'm gonna do that from now on. I'm gonna straw man my own position.
Like that's
how is that a straw man? It's a hypothetical. Hypotheticals are straw men.
Yeah, because
straw men would be arguments that I made. That way, I didn't make an argument. I asked.
Nope, I'm straw manning my own position. Nope, you don't have any argument. I straw man my own position. You got nothing.
The hypothetical in order to draw out what patriarchy is. That can't definitionally be a straw man. So is it the case?
It can and is, but
it can't. How can a hypothetical be a straw man, Brendan?
The issue is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to shift the discussion away from actual patriarchy, which
I'm going to straw man my own position from now on.
Is rooted in real history. It's specifically rooted, as I pointed.
I am literally making sure for the
and you're
purpose
substituting for that.
For the purpose of us not equivocating, I'm making damn sure we know exactly what patriarchy means and how it would be that Gaylandia does not fit exactly the definition of patriarchy.
Something I really like about Andrew's debate is that he always includes some comical, whimsical kind of silly world. And I'm going to learn that. I'm going to steal that from him. Because Gaylandia is hilarious. And it's like, here's the world. But it's like so absurd, but at the same time, it's completely crucial to the argument.
When Gaylandia, a system of power...
And then everyone has to say Gaylandia, too.
In which men hold the majority of political, economic, and social authority. That is definitionally patriarchy. So is Gaylandia a patriarchy, sir, or isn't it?
I mean, it's not. And specifically...
Why? How is it not?
Because, first off...
I'm going to get... Actually, I'm wearing black jorts right now, actually.
Do I get free black jorts?
I'm actually wearing black jorts right now. I can't wear them in public because, the whole inside crotch is ripped completely.
As I pointed out, this is not how patriarchy actually exists as a social system. It never has been. You even...
Another shout out to Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. That was really awesome of you.
Made a little bit of fun of that when you were talking about the gay list thing, for instance. Now, you go...
Gay list. Patriarchy, sweetie. Oh, fuck yeah, we're in a patriarchy. Oh, fuck yeah, what do you think a patriarchy is? We are in it, sweetie.
Sorry.
When you talk to anybody out there, you're going to say, is...
This is a disaster. I'm going to end the stream. Absolute disaster already from this guy. I can't wait to buy my first black sweater and shirt. Thank you so much, Jeff. And look, dude, it actually makes my gray hairs in my beard like a good feature of the visual because everything's so black and dark now. And I have to get a black guitar. Duck is a lunatic. These guys are terrible. I feel like Andrew's running out of people to debate. I kind of feel bad. Needs a bigger pond or like where are they? Where are they? Where are they? What do? You gotta wait for more retards to show up on the scene? I mean, it's terrible. Thanks, Jeff. Idea black in black montage? Absolutely. Black and black. That's what it's gonna be. Now I need like maybe I do need like a Johnny Cash black. Did Johnny Cash play a Martin? Where's my Johnny Cash people? Did he play a Martin? I don't know what he played. I'm pumped though. I feel so at home, black and white. Why is that? I don't know what it is. I'm pretty excited though. Gonna shop for some black shirts, black cutoffs, black cardigan. I'm pumped. Any debates? Yes, actually. On Tuesday, right here and Modern Day Debate, I'm debating another Mormon, my favorite. And I'm going to drink for that one. So you guys are in luck. You're in luck. All right. Anywho. Thank you for all the shares, by the way. I've finally broken out. I've had things gone viral on different things like memes, So I've seen my share of that, but On YouTube, I haven't really had a video that kind of breaks through the 12, 15 views. And now the video that I made, the animation of skeptics, I'm happy to say is at almost 27,000 views. So thank you everyone who liked it, shared it, upped it in the algorithm. It's probably half atheists that hate me watching it, but that's good. That's good for my channel. Breaking through. I haven't been able to break through that threshold. It's small, but it's meaningful to me. So thanks for continued support, whatever you guys are doing on your side to help me, my stuff get out there a little more. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's send you guys, where do you guys want to go? Which chat do you want to go to here? Do you want to continue watching the debate somewhere else? Andrew's Crucible? Does that sound right? There ain't much else going on, so that's where you're going. So there you go. Gaylandia, I'm sending you over to Gaylandia. Make sure you say Gaylandia a lot of times in the chat over at Andrew's. Enjoy it. Maybe I'll see you over in the chat there. I'm going to eat something, hang out with my wife and kids. And with that said, I'm very happy. Now the question is, should I take the color out of my weight screen? Shall we take a look? I don't know. Maybe not. Hold on. Let's try it. Let's just try it. Color key, color correction, hue. Is it saturation? There it is. See, somehow that even works. I'm pumped. It's a good contrast? Okay. I mean, either way, this, to me, that kind of works still. I think it works. I'm totally fine changing it back, though. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? All right, y'all. Thanks so much. I really appreciate y'all. God bless you. Go to liturgy tomorrow, okay? I'll talk to you guys in various chats and definitely on Monday. God bless you all. Have a good rest of your day. Another big shout out to Jeff. Really appreciate that. Big super chat there, buddy. Really appreciate it. All right. Out of here.